I have to grab my folder. Ah!
You have my
Hello,
permission.
everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tumbleweeds and Tombstones, the game where each week my players accuse me of trying to kill them, and I have to remind them that they're already dead.
Right.
Oh, kill it with fire.
I'm dead.
Only
Well,
on the inside.
it's nothing like starting off this game with the existential dread that everything's going back into lockdown potentially. So
Everything's not awesome.
anyway, thank you for joining us. Yeah, just I need a moment to self-compose.
It's a good thing we get to play online in that case.
Indeed. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the recap. When last we joined the Obsidian Spurs, you guys decided to do the three-way 7-10 split of DMing and split the party three ways because fuck me.
We're testing your ability.
Oh, you test me a lot.
That's
My
Liam's
ability, my patience,
all Liam, I promise.
So far, you've passed.
Oh, good. So, some of the Spurs decided that they were going to go into town to go shopping. Yes.
We had tea and we started a gossip network.
Yes, you decided to take a page from the Nosferatu and go into the local gossip at the tailor shop and haberdashery that she runs. Start a rumor that the Crowley boys are no more and that the lawman ran them out of town, but not to tell anyone.
But one of them done found God and now works for us.
Yes. While you guys were out in town, Noah decided to play with his new toy and asked for the help of Asmodeus to help break him in. After a bit of nightmarish staring this captive down and making his worst sins come to life before him, Noah had to question his morality a little bit and whether or not maybe he allowed things to go a step too far as he continued to work on the alterations to your guys' sub-level that previously didn't exist. You all heard a wolf howl, and some of you who had also then gone to Josephine's to do a little bit of inquiry about the young lupine who had willingly given himself up as a captive and is holding true that he feels you guys are innocent. He gave you guys a bit of a plan, saying that he is certain that the chieftain's eyes have not been destroyed but are being kept because they are great objects of power, and that even in death they might still hold some of that, and being able to find those on the guilty party might be able to point fingers at who actually committed the crime, namely his son Ichitai, or at least someone who's directly answering to him. Using a little bit of intuition and reading between the lines, Walter and Atris picked up that this young man by the name of Pita might actually be a illegitimate offspring of Murkuro, the late chief of this group of lupines, and have a very personal reason for wanting his killers to be brought to justice. He also told you that of the chieftains that were coming from all over the world, that a couple of them are very power hungry and would jump at the opportunity to try and take over this particular group. Others were very loyal to the past chieftain and if they found out that foul play had been involved by his successor, would not support the attack. And a couple others who are looking to Ichitai as a source of strength that they felt was much lacking in the group. And if you were to destroy him or beat him in combat, they would scatter, not having a strong leader to cling to. The groups would devolve into civil war of sorts, and give you guys ample time to cut the head off the snake, taking out the leaders, sending the groups into disarray, allowing enough time for the one thing that Pita asked for, which was promising him that if he helped lead you to his people's land and point out the leaders and help you do all of this, that you would allow him to take those that would willingly leave, and the innocents, and namely the non-fighters, the children, things like that, and escape, promising not to try and return to the lands, and that their group specifically would never try to seek vengeance on those of you here. Walter and Atris said that they would have to speak with the rest of the Spurs, but said that for what they could promise, that they promised that that seemed like a fair deal and was in line with your goals. You all heard wolf howls and got concerned as Walter and Atris used Atris's obfuscation to get back. Yes, can't see this. Reconnect with the gossip girls and make it back to the homestead, knowing that you were pursued as a pack of lupines have been keeping an eye on the place and trying to get through. Information was shared as Modius seemed at least willing to listen to the plan as long as it involved him getting to shoot something. And Josephine continued to work on your project of the Gatling gun mounted to your hearse. Liam then also mind altered the remaining Crowley to match the story that he told the gossip in town, that he willingly chose to out his family and saw Noah as his savior and guidance into the light of God's good graces. In the meantime, Waya via Owl decided to fly out and try and find Beckett, his Gangrel clan sibling, to try and get information about a potential orb of the blood moon, a mystical object rumored to be able to stop lupines from being able to transform in its presence. While flying out, he also saw that the homestead was being watched by lupines, or at least wolves on the perimeter, seemingly watching your guys' comings and goings. He decided to fly over Taylorsville, a place you guys have not been to in quite some time, to see how things are going, seeing that the imprisoned miners that were trapped by the swarms of rats are no more. Seemingly decimated, some new skeletal corpses left behind, seemingly picked clean by the rats. The infestation and pestilence of the Elder spreading further, destroying all life and corrupting it. He happened, with a very high roll, to find a clandestine meeting of seemingly knights, but unlike the Inquisition that you guys had run into before, these bore the symbol of a black cross that one of your members, Elizabeth, had seen in a vision, being part of the organization that had burnt down your guys' original homestead and set you down this path that you're currently on. He overheard that they were trying to see what's going on with the corruption and find a way to contain it before it gets too out of control, and that they must regain power. They also mentioned something about meeting a Sir Reginald and seeing where his loyalties did indeed lie. The leader seeming to be a bearded Nos by the name of Sir Peter. That sparked some memories in way of potentially one of the seemingly human prospectors who was leading the group when you guys first rode into town. But again, Peter being a somewhat common name, nothing definitive was found. They seem to notice something in the movement of Waya, seeming as there is no life that normally moves, and agreed to watch the mines. As Waya flew off, that is where we left everything the last time, unless I'm forgetting something.
Thanks, that's it.
Okay. So, with nothing else to add, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's episode of Tumbleweeds and Tombstones.
I've jumped and I don't like it.
Okay, cowardly lion. So you're all at the homestead. Asmodeus is actually outside. It seems like he is checking the sighting on his weapons. Bartleby and Henry are at the table doing research, and the rest of you are inside. Your enslaved prisoner is still in the barn. What do you all want to do?
All of us except Waya, right?
All of you except for Waya, who is on his solo owl mission. He is Hootie without the blowfish.
So memory serves, Adrian wants to share with the group that Mr. Peter needs a few days to heal up before he is ready to assist us in searching for more of his eyeballs.
Yes, you guys had ascertained that it would take at least a few days for him to be able to even potentially ride without reopening all his wounds. However, though you're not super familiar with lupine physiology, you're not sure about how well he would be able to fight in that state, just at least be a guide at the very least.
Right.
I know there are a couple things I want to do. One, because I want to call upon the haberdashery lady for a second night so I can blood her again in the first second night of tea. Also take Bartleby to get a fitting with her. And then 3, I want to collect more acidic rat blood if I can. You're noodling.
Canoodling, indeed. Okay. Unless there's a specific conversation you want to have with the old woman, then I'll say go ahead and just roll a charisma plus empathy roll. Sorry, charisma expression. My mistake.
Do I get any sort of lower difficulty since she's already bled down to me for one night?
I'll say I'll give it to you at difficulty 5. How many successes? Okay. Yeah. I mean, she's not falling any more head over heels, but you have a very pleasant chat with her. She seems very inclined to listen to you. Bartleby, who is very aware of what this process is, though your methods were slightly different, gives you kind of a knowing eye during this entire conversation. And when her back is turned, almost one of those really her kind of looks like. He knows better than to question you too much, but it's one of those things of he definitely is wondering what the point of this is.
And I just give him a knowing look that says, when you stop setting fires, then we'll talk about my decisions.
It worked, didn't it? But did you die again? So anyway, you fit him for what kind of clothing are you trying to fit him for?
Something that was was it we were getting him 2 outfits. One that was a little more tactful or tactical, because that was one thing she said she had. But then one thing that's just a little bit nicer in case we have to go somewhere for him.
Okay. Give me a one more charisma plus expression, please. No, sorry. Wits plus expression.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, much better. Do you want the formal wear to show his station that he is a servant, or would you want him to be able to blend in with the rest of you?
Because I know Bartleby has streetwise, but he's not trained in etiquette particularly. So servant is still just nice for a servant. I still want him to blend in.
So what I would say is you with that role, think about it, and you definitely give it something of like maybe a coachman or something like that, as he often drives the hearse while you are all sleeping. But someone who is a coachman for a very well-to-do kind of person. You can tell by it's a little bit outside of what she has. So you're not going to be doing like nobility or anything. Like he would still kind of stand out if you guys tried to go in that echelon of circles. Like he wouldn't be hanging with the servants of lords or anything. But let's say a rich farmhand is about the level of what she has. You would probably have to go to a different tailor if you want something
For
even
him,
fancier.
it's perfect.
As for his tactical gear, you actually have it mostly dark. You find a way to describe it so that way it doesn't seem sketch to this gossip, because the last thing you want is negative rumors about you and your henchmen. But you choose darker colors so that way it blends in at night more. He's not standing out in like a bright white or tan outfit. You also ask for something very specific where there's a bunch of hidden deep pockets in his coat, an overcoat that you put in his vest, anywhere she can put them. You word it as, oh, I'm always needing him to carry things, and you know I don't like to carry things. I have him do that for me. And you're able to convince her that this is just you being you.
You want to buy a pocket watch?
Exactly. But what's great about these, and you do notice that for what she has and for who she is, she has a fair amount of skill in making clothing. She's not necessarily like that French gentleman that you guys ran into before, but for the town and for everything else, you get the idea that she's been doing this for probably decades, and so she knows what she's doing. And what you basically ask for is women of the day oftentimes had little coin purses or hidden pockets that didn't ruin the lines of the dress, so that way there wasn't awkward bulges. And you kind of ask her to work the same thing into his clothes, which in reality just means that when Bartleby needs to pickpocket something, or if you guys need to leave something with him because you know that you're going to be patted down, but he wouldn't be, he now has lots of pockets in this outfit to be able to hide things. She also makes it from a little bit of a thicker fabric, so that way it's going to survive a little bit, where it's not armor by any sense, but there's a little bit more survival against weather and wear and tear, and if he were to get into a fight, at least a brawl or whatever, it's not going to pop a seam at the first punch.
Hefty.
Yeah. Other than that, it's successful. You're able to slip. Go ahead and give me a Dex plus Stealth roll, please. Stealth.
Or
Ladies, do you like yourself a good Delph roll? You, without even a problem. And this is, again, you and Bartleby have done a lot of pot picking.
I like
That's
a
him.
saucepan and a cast iron.
No, you've done a lot of pickpocketing in your times, both before you joined with the Spurs and afters, and easy enough to slip another drop of Vitae into her drink, and afterwards she seems to be hanging off of your every word.
Now, my dear, just because I want to make sure preparations are done correctly, may I call upon you again tomorrow evening?
Oh, that would be lovely.
When the alterations are done, you do know where our homestead is. I trust that I can send this young man here to fetch it for us.
Yes, it'll all be ready for you.
She's not even looking at Bartleby. She's just, you are the most interesting thing that she's seen in a while.
I have threats, Ekis.
As soon as you leave and Bartleby's Bartleby knows you guys are out of earshot and there's not anyone else nearby. Really? Her? That is who you choose, Master?
Oh, she doesn't know what's going on, and she's only going to be around for, well, a little bit. Mostly she's just a way to spread rumors and have tales spun in our favor.
So she's not going to come with us.
No, she will stay put.
Because between everything else that's going on and that Asmodeus fellow, I don't know how much more I can take of other pets.
No, she is merely a means to an end.
I don't know what that Noah fella thinks he's doing with the guy in the barn, and then there's the Marshall guy that's God knows where with... I sense something. A disdain from Adele.
It feels like a bird has been flipped.
Yes.
But no, don't worry. She's just, for now, means to an end. And honestly, at the end of the year, she'll age but a year. She won't even notice it.
All right. You guys continue walking. Now, do you go to the well?
Now I'm gonna go to the explosion site and see if there's like.
Okay.
That was the well, isn't it?
Well,
No, the well was
the
an access
path
point.
to it. Yeah.
Hmm.
But the underground tunnel actually went like quite a bit underneath, and then there was an underground cavern that you guys sunk kind of in the middle of town.
We blew up the old oak tree.
You go there, and the tree has since been cut down and chopped up into. There's only a stump there. The tree is no longer there. You get the idea that, especially in the middle of winter, people could use the firewood, and since the tree's not living anyway, why let it go to waste? So there's just a stump now. The hole, as best as they can, has actually been boarded up with, like, not like, obviously there's nothing that they could drill into, but they've at least laid boards down so that way no kids or anything accidentally fall into it or whatever. And I mean, it's at night, depending on what time if you went straight there, it's still the same night. So at this point it's starting to get on in the evening, so it's probably around midnight-ish. There's not really a whole lot of people around. It's not like they have a security guard guarding the hole.
Well, it doesn't seem to be much fuss around here. Here, just help me take off some of these planks. Now,
Easy enough.
No use for these getting wet, and I just kind of like disrobe with, I'll be back.
So you're just going in naked?
Pretty much.
Okay. You strip down in all your glory.
Just Bruce
Skinny
Almighty.
As you now Luckily, the hole's not super deep, but go ahead and give me a Dex Athletics. Difficulty is going to be, I'll say standard. I mean, it's slippery, but it's not super deep, so the two kind of balance each other out. 4?
2 9s, a 7 and an 8.
Oh yeah. Even with it being cold and kind of hard, and there's not being a whole lot of footholds, and you are doing this without the use of any kind of rope or anything else.
I did forget to say I have the empty vial in my hand.
Okay, that would have made it slightly more difficult, but we'll let it slide for this time. You're able to go without scraping your junk against the wall or anything else. And you bare ass yourself down in there. This time you notice the thing is devoid of the main corruption, so you're not like dropping into a pool of what was almost acid. Go ahead and give me a perception plus investigation. Also, this is going to be difficulty 8, just because you do not have any light source with you, and you're in the middle of a dark hole with only moonlight to help you.
Yeah. Well, you said diff 8?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a double botch then.
Nice.
2 for the price of 1.
You catch your reflection in the little bit of ice that is down there, and you're like, that is Spain's ass. Just catch yourself, kind of give yourself like a little profile, a little, yes. And you wish that there was a artist there to draw you in this moment and send it to some of your conquests. Perhaps this self-E that people are talking about. But no, you can't. You do see scorch marks, old ones in here, and do remember that there was an explosion, so a lot of the bodies that had been built up have been scattered who knows where. You're not able to find anything down here at this time.
Oh, climb out and go back home.
Okay.
Wait, scratch that. Climb out, put my clothes back on, and then go back home. Because I know my storytelling.
and the great thing is, because you're a vampire and temperature doesn't really affect you, there's no shrinkage. So
just get out. It's not that cold.
You're just small. But anyway.
Wow.
I meant what you would say to other people.
Sean, he's already dead. Jeez.
Way to kick a man when he's 6 feet under.
We put the dead in Deadwood. Anyway,
Oh, Jesus.
So you guys robe up and head back to the homestead. Was there anything else over the next couple of nights that anyone wanted to accomplish? Where I'll get to you in your solo flight. But anyone else, is there anything specific you want to try and accomplish over the next couple of nights?
Yes, I would like to get a lot closer to my new school.
Okay.
So tonight I would like to offer him a full meal. Hopefully whatever Bartleby was eating for dinner.
You just take Barnaby's dinner and hand it to him.
Well, his leftovers at least.
I'll say you talk to Bartleby and Henry, and they have made enough that there's another portion there. It's nothing too complicated. It seems like it's almost like a grits kind of thing with a little bit of sausage cut up. And they're happy to give you a bowl of it, or at least Henry's happy and As you walk out, you notice a complete different. Now let's see, how many times you've given him blood now 2 times. Do you want to go ahead and give him, are you going to drop a little of that hot sauce in there?
Yeah, I was gonna spread it over the sausage a bit.
Okay. You kind of mix it in a little bit. And as you walk out, he is no longer bound because you guys left him unbound. But you notice a completely different personality than the one you left him last time, which was abject fear and terror. As he's walking in and he's sitting there and he's brushing down the horses, he's sitting there and tidying up the barn, and you walk in. Well, Mr. Noah, God bless. It's good to see you, sir.
Ah, good afternoon.
Checks
I brought you
notes.
some food.
Afternoon, sir. You're so funny. It's after the dark. Now, question.
Absolutely.
Do you actually remember his name?
Yes, of course. Mr. Jericho. Jericho Crowley.
There you go. Well, thank you, sir. I have to admit, I was getting right hungry. This sure does look good. Thank you. Did you make this? I bet you did. You're so talented.
Well, thank you. No, I believe Henry made this.
Well, God bless him, and you thank him for me.
I will pass on that kindness.
And he starts saying grace over the food.
Do I feel anything from that? Is it true?
I mean, you don't feel anything. I mean, you know.
Depends on your.
Actually, go ahead and give
use.
me a int plus occult roll, please.
Also, Liam did tell Noah he fixed his ghoul.
Yeah. Int plus occult, difficulty 7, please.
2 successes.
As you were not part of, I'm sure maybe some of the group has regaled you with stories of the mission, and you've heard snippets of information from what the NOS network has been able to gather. You've heard from other NOS and other kindred rumors of humans and mages having the ability to have what's some have called true faith, an ability to actually imbue crucifixes, holy water, certain consecrated grounds with some kind of higher power, so that way it actually hurts you guys. You personally have never run into it, and for the most part, 99% of vampires out there figure it's all bullshit. That it's just, as a matter of fact, most of you feel it's bullshit because a lot of you are the ones who started the rumors that, oh no, not a crucifix. Please don't throw me in the briar patch. You know, one of those, it's rumors you spread so that way hunters would have misinformation about how to actually stop you guys. Some claim that some humans have actually figured out a way to make it work, but you've never seen it. So him saying grace to you, he might as well just be saying his ABCs.
All right. I would like to let him enjoy his meal and tell him to come join us in the house when he's done fixing up the barn.
Right away, sir. I'll be right with you. And with that, Noah, you can go ahead and put one you can have the background retainer, and you have now a 1-dot retainer. You and I will talk sometime in the next week, and we will roll up stats for Jericho.
Okay.
So that way you can at least have them, so that way in any combat situations or any others, you will roll for Jericho in the future once we roll those stats up.
He wasn't meant for sure bad.
That's the fun of these kind of games. You never know who's going to make it. I mean, Marshall was only supposed to be a throwaway character that you guys just latched onto. So, all right. So, you go back into the homestead. Everyone's still there. Who was before? After about 10, 15 minutes, Jericho comes in and he kind of brushes himself off and he stands up kind of tall and walks into the building. Mr. Noah, sir, you said you wanted to see me?
Yes, Jericho, come meet the family.
It's a pleasure to meet y'all. I didn't know y'alls were kin.
Yes. We're all
In
very
dread.
More of a forced family, but we accept it either way.
Right. Well, I just gotta take this time and say again how grateful I am that y'all have shown me the error of my ways and allowed me to redeem myself in the eyes of the Lord and work here for you for a spell.
I stare
just-
toward Liam.
I may have put it on a little thick.
Don't say.
Bartleby just sits there and he sighs, shakes his head, and goes, "Yes, you should. Yes, you should be grateful, Miss. And you know what would be a great way to show your gratitude? Anything they ask you to do, anything at all the laundry, the taking care of the stables. You know what? That was my job, but I feel that you, who wishes to redeem himself in the eyes of the Lord Almighty, it would be my Christian duty to ensure that you have that pleasure." And Jericho goes, "Thank you, sir. You would do that for me? I most certainly would."
And in addition to that, any and all trips that I have paid for Bartleby to enjoy the lady's house will instead go to you.
He looks at you and
Though as a man of
Irelo.
hello.
He looks legitimately pissed. Like he had this one thing that he got to enjoy for like 10 seconds and you took it from him. Jericho though goes, "Thank you kindly, sir, but I think the Lord would not smile upon such things, and I have so much to answer for. I don't reckon I should put more tallies against my soul, if you catch my meaning."
Fair enough.
Nope,
As he's looking off, Bartleby's just looking at you like, and Jericho just stands there. You asked him to come in, and he's kind of just standing there expectantly waiting for whatever Noah wanted him to do or say.
Well, now, Jericho, I'm so glad that you volunteered to be of such help to us. I'll let Bartleby explain the duties around the household. And
No.
You said household.
Now, Noah, I did have a question though. I know this man answers to you, but was it not our knowledge that Jericho, your family has seized quite a bit of wealth from those in the community? It would be I mean, it would be just the right thing to do if we were to find out where this wealth was, see about possibly returning it to its rightful owners or making the best use of it.
You're right, sir. I should go to the sheriff right now and tell him where everything is, so that way he can get it back to the proper individuals.
Well, no,
Well,
you-
you see,
you've-
we already have a good working relationship with the sheriff, and that's how we got to you
Yeah,
through
you-
working
you-
with local enforcement.
you've been
So,
released to
you
our
can-
custody.
You can just work with us to get everything restituted.
Of course, that is if that's all right with
That's a
Noah.
big word, sir.
Thank you.
Now you see, Jericho, we do lots of work for lots of people, like contractors, if you will, and our work takes us all over the place, making sure that wrongs are righted. So, if you would so kindly assist my fellow men, we could work together to right all your wrongs as well.
As the women, I'll give you a look. Noah, give me a perception plus alertness roll, please. Alertness, yes.
Is this visual or audio?
Visual.
Okay. What's the difficulty?
Standard.
Okay. Five.
You notice that while everyone else was making suggestions and he seemed amiable to listen to you all and try and be helpful, when you told him to help out everybody, there was almost a biological where his body got kind of stiff for a second. Eyes kind of dilated for a moment, and he went, "Yes, sir," and then kind of shook himself and he's kind of looking at himself and going, "Oh, sorry about that. That felt weird. Must be the winter air. Sure, I'll show you where my family hid everything." And he kind of looks over at Henry, who's working on the map, and he kind of works over and points and goes, "Right here, about 5 miles out of town. We went ahead and buried it out here. There was an old camp. People tried to do a little bit of mining before they made it over to Taylorsville, and they didn't find none. So it's been abandoned for since my pappy was boy. And that right there is where we put it, because no one goes sniffing around there."
And you've been there recently.
Well, yeah, we went there. I'm sorry to say, and God forgive me, but last time we alleviated some goods from. See, I learned that word, and he looks over at Walter. It's like a. But it was 5 miles out of town, northwest. So for Liam, that would be the opposite direction of where the Taylorsville mines are.
Got it. Okay, I was thinking it was the opposite direction. Okay.
Yeah, no. He's just saying that what people did is they tried to dig there, didn't find anything. Eventually, people made their way all the way down south to Taylorsville, and that's where the guy Taylor, who started that mine, found silver and actually started excavating there.
Gotcha.
Quick time check. What time is it right now?
In game. Okay, cool.
The current time is
It's about 12:15-ish, because by the time you guys still haven't gone to bed. If this is the third night, then actually you did go to bed. So
Yeah.
I'd say it's actually probably closer to about 10-ish, because by the time Liam and Bartleby made it into town, did their bit there, went nude spelunking, and came back, and then the whole interaction here with Jericho, I'd say it's about 10:30-ish.
I love that splunking is both a word and a sound effect.
And when you add the nude element to it, that makes it interesting. What went spelunk? But anyway, yeah, so he describes where the hideout was.
Well, Liam, do we want to go on a field trip?
I think it would be in everyone's best interest, especially in the eyes of the Lord, to
Oh, yes.
reclaim these riches.
Did you want me to go ahead and do that for you, sir?
You could bring it all by your lonesome?
Well, it might take me a few trips.
I mean, I'm sure we can help the young man.
I could check the homestead and see if our horses are still there, and if so, I could bring a couple of them with me and load them up and try and go back and forth a few times. It was a good haul. It shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 trips.
Oh, if you would be so kind, bring the deed to your family home.
I'll have to remember where Pappy put it. That was something he kept close to him, but I'll try and find it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, since the law got involved, he won't stop you from looking.
Right. You sure you don't want me to tell the sheriff? I mean, I'm sure he wants to get all that stuff back to where it came from.
Oh, no. He would only tell us, and we would already be doing the job for him. We're just expediting the process.
That's our job. You got your job.
All right.
That
If it's all right,
Yeah.
he looks at Noah. If it's all right with you, sir, I'll go ahead and go back to the homestead and get a couple horses and get started before it gets too late.
I walk straight up to Noah, real close, and I go there. The wolves are following everyone who leaves here. It's not been safe for even us. I don't know if they'll tail some random dude or not, but they're watching around here. I don't know if they're watching closely enough to see everyone who comes and goes from the gate, but how else are they going to tell when we leave? I don't know what's going to happen if he goes on his own. I don't know what's going to happen if we escort him either.
I
Might
am a
need to
little
get him
worried
used to
about it.
being cloaked or whatever you do to not be seen.
Noah, give me a straight wits roll.
Okay. I got 2.
Common sense dictates that the lupines, if they're anything like how Waya and Sonoy have been tracking things, have a sense of smell. You also assume that they probably have your guys' smell pretty locked in if they're tracking you guys. If this guy who they see coming in and out, who so far is not aware of the supernatural after Liam got done with him, goes out in the dark, unprotected, by himself, might be ripe for someone trying to grab him, if for nothing else, to question him and try and get information about you lot. At least that's what you would do if you were staking out a place and trying to gather intel on the heavy hitters inside. So, with the 2 roll, I'll say your logic dictates either a couple of things. Either you might want to give this guy a crash course on what the hell is going on and be aware of the dangers out there, or find some way that he can do it in such a way that the lupines won't want to, like if there's other witnesses or something like that, where the lupines might be a little bit more cautious about showing their hand. Or have you lot go with him as basically protection, but then who knows if that's playing right into what the lupines want. So you got some options here.
Does
Well,
Noah express these feelings?
In reply to Walter, I would tell him, I'm definitely feeling a little bit worried because I know that we have people looking for us, and they're definitely going to be watching him. But if we were to go with him, they'd be watching us.
Maybe you were looking at the problem all wrong. I think you're right. Then maybe we just remove the watchers first. It's kind of what we're gearing up to do anyway, right?
Now, this is where the plan gets fun. Because we have got ourselves an excellent crack shot. Walter, I'm sorry I'm not talking about you today. And we got someone itching for a fight.
Yeah.
I think I can keep him invisible. But that might be our best bet. To escort and lead as a distraction.
You're a smart man, Noah. Whatever your plan is with the basement and that hole, I trust you.
Well, thank you. It's going to be mighty fine when I'm done with it. I'm
Mighty
thinking
fine?
I mean, we're all in the same room, but can I hear any of this?
Are you guys trying to be quiet amongst yourselves?
Well, the last thing that he said, my response was very hearable.
Okay. Liam, give me a perception alertness roll, difficulty 7.
What?
You catch up. I mean, you catch enough of it to get the gist of what they're talking about, even if you don't catch every single word. But you get the generic idea.
Well, I do agree. Lord knows we couldn't possibly get Asmodeus to kill a few lupine for fun.
What?
No, nothing. Just a few scouts need killing, but no, it's okay. We'll take care of it.
It would bore you, I'm sure.
You hear bow as the door comes open, and he's sitting there. All right, I already like this plan. What are we doing?
Oh, no, we couldn't trouble you. We're just reclaiming his family's lost treasure, and there's probably going to be lupine hunting the carriage on the way there because, you know.
What's my cut?
I believe that's between you and your pastor. Oh, sorry. My mind went somewhere.
He
horribly
does
else.
not understand that for a second. What
Well, there
is my cut?
Well, there are. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bartleby doesn't get anything. Young, I forget what his name. Jacob, Jasper. What is your name?
Jericho.
Jericho.
Jethro.
What
Je-
he said.
Jericho.
So Jericho is clearly, trying to settle his conscience, so he's not going to be taking anything.
No, sir. That's blood money.
Well,
But I mean,
how?
you lot aren't taking nothing either, right? You're going to give it back to the rightful owners?
Well, there is the matter of a small finder's fee, and on top of that, some of these relics may not be able to be returned at all. So they'll have to service the community, and who better to service the community than us?
Give me a charisma plus expression roll. Difficulty's going to be 7.
While they're all explaining this to Osmodius, I'd like to pull Jericho outside.
Okay. Hold on one sec,
Well,
just for 1 sec, because I want to see what Danny's roll is.
Yeah, this roll is for Jericho.
2 8s and 2 10s. The 10s re-rolled an 8. So 4.
He goes, all right, I don't understand, but that's a lot of stuff, I guess.
Well, I'm so sorry, Jericho. I know that my education can be intimidating to you, but it is for the greater good.
All right. Noah, you go ahead and lead him out.
Now, Jericho, I just want to let you know that even though we do good, there are a lot of bad people who don't like that we want to stop them. So sometimes they come to find us. So if you see anyone acting aggressive towards you, make sure to head for the hills and save your life. Son, there is nothing more important than making sure that you reach your salvation.
All right, Mr. Noah, I'll go ahead and do that. That fancy feller in there, I don't think he really wants to help the community as much as he wants to help himself a little bit. Are you all right with that?
I promise you, he is just hired muscle. He's here to make sure that we stay safe.
The fancy fella?
Now, are you speaking about Liam or the one with all the guns?
The guy with the blonde hair and the,
Indeed.
the silver spoon up his ass.
Indeed, the spoon is silver. He is our grandest financer, our greatest philanthropist.
Well, that's between
Now,
him and God.
How would we go about any of our mission without the financial help that he provides to this household? We make sure that our horses are fed, as well as you.
Well, sir, you're the boss, so whatever you say. I guess I can go with that. That's a strange name for that feller over there. Asmus.
You got it. Perfect.
Just put an X before it.
His parents didn't love him none. They slapped him with a name like that.
As I said, he is hired muscle. I know he doesn't believe in our cause as much as the rest of us, but he does help.
He kind of scares me a little bit. I don't know why. Just something deep down makes me kind of scared of him a little bit.
That's all right. We'll try to keep him away from you.
All right. Well, if he wants to follow me back to the house, I can try and wrangle up some horses, and we can ride out to the hide hole.
Now, see here. This is why I needed to talk with you, because we are all so busy providing for our community here. You might not see us from time to time. And if you happen to hear horse hooves or gunshots, things of that sort, it's usually us making sure that everyone around us is safe.
That kind of thing happen a lot around here.
Oh yes. Nothing but wild beasts in those fields.
Huh. I lived in these parts all my life. I didn't see nothing more wild than well, there's been a couple of strange possums lately, but other than that, and a couple of the hawks have been acting weird. But short of that, everything's been fine.
Well, we got our eyes on that, and the reason you haven't seen anything else is because of how hard we work.
Go ahead and give me a charisma plus subterfuge roll. Difficulty is only 5 because he is currently your ghoul and inclined to listen to you.
Right now, Leon's fighting with Asmodeus, 12%.
25.
I got
17.5.
75 sounds good.
17.5. I know you can hear me with those ears.
What's wrong with my ears?
I have to tell you when your mama shouldn't.
You're lucky you're under contract, you. Flashback, what was your role, Noah?
4.
He eats up every word you just said, as it is the God's gospel truth. Right, sir? Right. If there's gunfire, I'll just ignore it. And if anybody comes after me, itching to do me harm, I'll run the other way.
Perfect.
I see nothing wrong or suspicious with this whatsoever.
This is purely for survival, Jericho. I would not want to see you get hurt.
Sir, you have the God's most honest face that I have ever seen. I cannot see how any of this is not the truth.
Well, my mama didn't make me pretty, so I had to be honest.
Sir, don't you be talking about yourself like that. Everyone's beautiful in the eyes of the Lord.
Amen. Amen, brother.
All right. Well, Asmus.
It's pronounced Xmas.
And Asmodeus' eyes flash for a second. What did he just call me?
Don't kill him.
Remember, Liam brainwashed him. I mean,
I'm gonna go ahead and pretend that you didn't just shout that.
It was dirty.
You just better watch it. He ain't under contract. All right, let's go ahead and head to your home. And Asmodeus gets his horse and thinks for a second, goes, "You better ride with me. We need to ride a little bit fast these days." And Asmodeus waits for a second. He comes back in and he looks at Noah and he goes, "Look, I tried to break him in my way, so at least he knew what was what. Liam decided to get him a fanciful vision that everything's okay and the Lord is looking for him. But I'm not about to risk my ass just to try and maintain this illusion. I have a similar ability that you all have. If I need to use it to keep my ass safe, I'm going to use it. And if you have to explain shit to him afterwards, that's your problem. This is your pet.
That is all right by me. I told the little shit face that he should run for his life should anything go down.
All right. If he starts freaking the fuck out because we all turn invisible, that's his problem. All right. So I'll go ahead and collect my 50% and then I'll be back.
16
20.
-4.
24.
22.5.
Deal.
Got it.
Oh, that's not fun.
And they ride off.
Yeah, you really
Okay.
talked him down. There's
The
a
first
reason
thing we
you're
need to do
in charge of our money.
First thing we need to do is get lots and lots of whiskey and hide it.
Henry audibly sighs from the table and goes, "Oh, thank God." And when he says that, he twitches a little bit.
How much of that whiskey's for you? I address Henry.
I am maintaining a perfect balance, being enough to tolerate him, but not so much so that I am not in control to just end him. It is a razor sharp line that I have been maintaining for the last several nights.
Well, my apologies. I'm hoping that young Jericho does find the deed to his father's home and that we could have a third property in the area. I technically paid for Josephine, so it is hers.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume you would want to question her ownership of that place. From what I know about that woman, you don't want to go toe to toe with her.
Yeah, good luck claiming that one.
You as well as I do. It was a good idea to give her that gift.
Exactly. And she owns it now. That's all I'm saying.
But eventually,
But,
we do outlive quite a few people. The shareholders just simply go back to the Silver Arrow Trading Company.
Henry goes, I think I can risk it. I need to go back to my house for a couple of things to try and... You still want me to continue to research this, or do you want my efforts put somewhere else now that you apparently have a guide who's willing to take you?
we're going to be able to get there anyway. Then, hate for your work to be wasted. Kid seems trustworthy as far as we've gotten to talk to him, even if he's a little worse for wear. He'll try. He knows something.
Well, then what is it you all need me to work on, if anything?
You,
Ooh, I have an idea that is if Atris is willing or even interested. When we were in the mission, we came across a rather large clay creature that nearly swallowed half of us whole. But Atris did come across a rather interesting scroll and a small earth elemental as part of it, though she's never actually tried to conjure it.
GM checking. Did you find a small earth elemental, or was it to summon a small earth elemental? I thought you just found the scroll that summons one.
Yeah, it was the scroll to summon it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the summon minor earth elemental. I have this the information set. So just basically setting up blood sorcery, willpower roll, yada yada yada.
From what I understand, there are multiple different groups of mages that have learned to summon servants or temporary foot soldiers. And from what research I've done, it seems like at least one of your kinds of people have learned to adapt such things to be powered by your blood and its magical properties. So that sounds about right of one of the things that we had in our inventory. Or one of you more adept with that kind of knowledge?
I do have some without sorcery of my own. I've actually been practicing my magic of each, not magic, my faith and as well as like convert my veto into a poison. So touch people to make their blood vessels rupture. So I do have a little bit of experience with that sorcery.
All right. What is it you need from me? Seems like you got it figured out. What would you need me for?
Oh, I honestly wasn't just sure if there was any tricks or anything that she might need guidance on, but if it's self-explanatory.
I mean, I'm willing to look at it and give you what I understand, although blood magic isn't really my forte. So we could try and stumble through it together. If you want, and he gestures to Atris, I'm willing to look it over with you and help you as best I can.
I suppose I could get a crash course. I honestly never summoned an elemental before, and I could do some pointers.
I could at least give you pointers on the pronunciation.
I mean, I just know it's a minor element. So I know, Atris is knowing else has that in terms of like the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever actually got like a stat card or anything for it.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure I gave you guys like a page number or something that you could look at.
yeah, like I have a screenshot. Right, of course it won't show up on the screen, but it says summon my Earth elemental character who wishes to learn this must have some sort of sorcery player spends a blood point. It makes a willpower roll, difficulty 7. Number of successes on a willpower roll equals number of points given in physical traits above 3 each. Player then needs to make a manipulation plus a cult roll, difficulty number of willpower successes plus 4 to gain control over the elemental, and then it says see page 215 to see who this goes.
Okay, so basically what's saying is, if I, you'll forgive me, the mic was a little bit garbled, but if I remember correctly, you basically get to give it so many attributes, and then they make you give it the attributes first and do the roll first to see how strong of an elemental it is. Then you have to roll if you control it or not. Like you properly summon it, but it's you basically forcing your will on it. And then it's the luck of the dice on whether or not you're basically fucked and you just release this thing without a master kind of thing, or if you actually gain control of it and are able to make it do your bidding as best it can.
Oh.
So yeah, on page 215, it shows a list of like rolling to see what happens if how the elemental will behave between watches all the way up to max.
Yeah. So you get that's a one-use spell. It's not something that's like, oh, you can just summon as many elementals if you want as you want. But it's a one-use spell. You can does it say which attributes or do you get to choose which attributes for the first roll?
It doesn't, at least in the, because this was what you had set me corrected. This was
Okay. What page was it on?
215. So it's just the summon elemental ability, and the elemental mastery.
Okay, so it has 3 dots in all physical attributes.
See that? Yes.
And then the number of rolls that on the that you make will be how many more dots you can put into each of those physical attributes beyond 3.
Mhm. It looks like by my roll of just rolling attributes or just rolling to summon.
The roll to summon. And then you roll the manipulation occult. The difficulty is the number of successes scored on the casting roll plus 4. So, like, let's say you on the casting roll you scored 5 successes, it would be a difficulty 9 to control this thing, which you might want to spend some willpower to. Because it's basically, think of it like trying to break a wild stallion kind of thing. The more strong and willful the stallion, the harder it is to control it, kind of deal. So there's kind of that balance. And then you roll. Botch means that the thing immediately attacks you.
Yep.
Failure just means that it either is free and it just attacks whoever's nearby or whatever. So you can look through it and see. I mean, it's not something we have to figure out right this second, plus unless you're planning on casting it right now. But I will say, give me a int plus occult roll. Difficulty is, I'm going to say it's going to be difficulty 7, just because while you do understand blood magic because of your clan, you yourself are not you're not of the sorcerer caste. You are part of the warrior caste.
All right, I got exactly 1 success.
Okay. A lot of it is talking gibberish, just because Henry starts to go into this big long explanation about, oh, you just, okay, sure enough, until he starts to see your eyes gloss over a little bit and he realizes, oh, you haven't even been trained in magic to begin with, and then begins to explain it. So what I will say is it's going to take you the better part, because you only got 1 success. It's going to take you the better part of the rest of the night of being coached by Henry.
Okay.
If you're willing to do that. If you are, I will say that by the end of tonight, moving forward, and you can make a note of this somewhere, any rolls coming to any int or any int plus occult rolls that you have to do specifically involving thaumaturgy, blood magic, will be at a -1 difficulty for you. Whatever the difficulty I was going to give you, you'll have -1 to that difficulty. Because basically Henry is, as not a practitioner of it himself, as best as he's researched, so it's kind of like a third-party person teaching you about something. Theoretical thaumaturgy, essentially 101. He explains what he understands about it, what he's researched, what he's read about, and such, so that you feel that you understand thaumaturgy a little bit more too.
So as of right now, I'm -1 for any therma. God, I'm gonna butcher that pronunciation. Thaumaturgy.
Yeah, thaumaturgy, understanding, not necessarily the casting, but at the very least the int plus thaumaturgy. Anytime that roll, int plus occult in result to thaumaturgy, you're at -1 difficulty.
Got it. So
Okay,
that'll help a little bit, because I usually only have.
can help you in the future. Okay. Before I jump over to Waya, is there anything else anyone wants to complete in the next 3 nights? Anything you want to, any conversations you want to have, any places you want to visit, any things you want to study, research, practice?
The only thing Agent would want to do would be away from as well as just want to wants to simply inform everyone of what she knows of her understanding of the blood curse.
Okay, I'm sorry, David. I only heard part of that. The mic didn't pick up.
It's
all
not
of it.
really picking you up very clearly.
Let me check my mic settings again. Maybe I'm. That's not what I'm doing. Hang on. Okay, where are you? No, it's saying my mic levels is 100%, so I don't know.
Okay, something about your blood curse. Please continue.
Yes, she was simply just wanting to inform everyone outside of Asmodeus of her blood curse.
And yet now we can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I'd say go ahead and do that then. You find a time when Asmodeus is not around and he's sitting there during target practice.
But I think I've gotten a little more understanding of what's going on with me, with the Jinn. It actually, for a moment, while we were talking with our young friend Peter, when you had opened your palm, there was a moment where I nearly leapt for your blood. It
That's
appears
not
that
very ladylike.
it's, from what I understand, it's called Methuselah's thirst. I can still consume human blood, but it's quite gross to me now. It's only about half as feeling, and I would not be able to. I would have diminished control over trying to not consume other kindred's vitae.
That could be a pickle.
Yes,
It can be real tough not being able to control yourself.
Yes, so I believe I'll be able to control it, but just a warning in case there's a lot of vitae around. I might not be able to fully control myself.
Do you happen to be bloodbound to anyone in our group? I don't think I've asked this yet.
Liam, of course.
Well, it sounds to me like if we feed Liam enough, we might have a possible donor. A blood pool, if you will.
Well, at the moment, I can still at least feed from humans. It's not. It feels only about half as feeling now, so it just requires more.
Walter, it's like having a hot beer.
Ugh. It's a good thing my stomach's empty.
It's a good thing I can't drink beer anymore.
That's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
This whiskey. Shit, that means you miss the taste of good blood.
Well, I don't remember if you had anything relating to fish, really rotten fish in your before you did your place. It was sort of like just drinking that, like rotten fish almost.
My person that brought me into this gift, curse, whatever you want to call it, told me you don't want to be in a situation where you're always feeding from your friends. I don't think that blood pool thing is an easy out for her, because then she'll just start doing whatever Liam says, and shit, we already all do what Liam says.
Mm-hmm. I would like a little modicum of freedom. I would not like to have to rely on feeding on other vampires, but assuming I'm correct, and I will test this later, not understanding of you, but I will try to ensure that what I suspect is correct and I do not suffer any pain from Jadikin Vitae.
Cool.
See, if you want to do something with that and you need some help, if you're afraid you might need to be held down or something, just let us know first.
What
Right.
about that one gentleman that we're all bloodbound to accept Atris? He needs killing.
And Nora
Well-
hasn't met.
Nora.
What, our friend Tom? He
Yeah,
was
that's the.
he helped us.
Not true, but we do owe him some money.
You, Walter, thinking about all the different entities we've probably owe money to in our history.
There's a bit of a list. All right. Noah, do you work anymore on your sub level or?
Actually, during those couple of days, I would like to send Jericho into town to gather lumber for me.
Okay. Easy
Because
enough to
I would
do.
like to continue working on that sub level.
I will say, tell me high or low.
We're going low, digging down.
Unfortunately, that was an 8 that I just rolled. So I will say he's able to find a little bit of lumber, but right now, the last month or so, the town has been trying to rebuild since the bison stampede. And so lumber is getting really hard to come by because a lot of the town is trying to rebuild. You're able to get some, but not a lot until they tell you basically until spring comes and a lot of the trade routes are open up a little bit more and the routes are a little bit more friendly. You get some. You get enough to work, at least start working with things to at least, if you wanted to dig down and be able to at least put braces up, so that way the whole thing doesn't come. But if you're looking at getting like a finished basement, there's probably not enough quite for that, unless it's a very small, like almost like a wine cellar kind of thing.
No, just general supports so the ceiling doesn't cave.
Yeah, I'd say you get at least enough for that. That as long as it's not a big room, it's fine. Okay. I will say then that unless anyone else has something specific,
I do. I just want Walter really wants to gather artillery, like anti-werewolf artillery.
okay,
And
what were
that
you thinking?
includes asking Henry if he can make some kind of magic bullets that Walter is able to handle safely. It includes checking on the status of that Gatling gun with Josephine, probably with Cloaker's help. And it includes us checking our stores of our own silver bullets, which I did check our inventory, I guess, but gathering any other silver things
Okay.
we have about.
So you're going to have quite a few silver bullets, although a lot of them are going to be cast to fit this Gatling gun that you guys wanted. A little bit more of the silver is being used by Josephine to try and make these silver mist grenades that Liam requested. But she's making bullets for both rifle and pistol rounds.
Oh, that's exciting.
So she's working on that. I would say you talk to Henry and he's adjusting his glasses and he goes, depending on how much time you give me, I could change a little bit of the script on the bullets so that way they're not holy bullets, just
silver ones. If you want them to be something that fights supernatural beings, it's usually a catch-all spell. But I could do something on your silver. You kind of need to have the true faith behind it to make it have that little extra kick. But if you want something that would be good against lupines and undead, I could do something like, not necessarily you guys, but like zombies things. I can do that if you want.
We just need something that's good against these furry adversaries.
I mean, I think silver bullets are going to be pretty damn good against them. Remember that.
I just wish we had more of them, you know.
I do too. But you guys kind of ran out of town, my old hunting buddies, should we say. And with them, there are stores of ammunition.
You know what? Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. I don't particularly want to feel what them holy bullets feel like again. But if there was some way, and Walter kind of walking and talking goes to a pack and pulls out that you could do something with this, and he brandishes that old morning star that Josephine made him ages ago that is spiky and iron and solid as hell.
What do you want me to do to it?
Make it hurt werewolves more, but let me still hold it? I'd ask Josephine, but she's a little busy.
You understand I'm not a mage. Most of my abilities work for me because I'm the one doing them. But give me a night with it, and I'll see what I can come up with.
Just one night, Walter.
Hell, if you
Well, no
if you
noche.
if you need tons of time, we got 3 whole nights. Actually, do we have 2 nights now? I don't know.
I'd say
You
2
have
nights.
plenty
Yeah.
of time.
All right. Since I'm not working on the other project now, I can at least give it a shot.
This might be real bloody. I mean, I
Well,
guess
it
we
is a
don't really
mace.
bleed, but gonna need
It's usually-
that.
All
and
right.
more.
I'll see what I can do, and not promising anything. This is imbuing things is not really my forte. It's more of just let me see what I can do. And other things. I was a hunter for the Inquisition before I was their librarian. Kind of puffs his chest up a little bit.
Reading and praying aggressively with weapons.
I want to argue with you, but you're not 100% wrong. He agrees to look over it for a bit. Okay.
That's all, Walt. I do want to. Walter's torn. Like he wants to somehow get word from Josephine, but I don't think that Lyman has the same wits that Walter does about like safely communicating with her from this distance. About like the progress of that thing, of that project.
I
think I would ask the group like how best to like get a message, and I don't know if there's some easier.
I would say you would think
way.
you know that Noah has animalism as well, and
I'm used to Waya doing that.
Yeah, and you're familiar with that ability. You guys are also familiar that in the time that your gang has been together, it was not uncommon for Waya to summon animals and then you guys tying notes onto them and being that as a way to communicate to each other when you are out of range of Elizabeth's telepathy.
No, I believe that Adele is in range for telepathy with Josephine from this distance.
More or less.
I would certainly be asking her if she is.
I mean, it would be one-way missives. Like, she can't. It's sending the thought to her. To read her thought, she has to be like right there.
You cannot respond to this message. Got it.
Right.
Oh. It's not sending.
So, yeah, I would. No, could we do kind of a carrier pigeon kind of deal? Is there a way you could send a note to our blacksmith and, a real vague like note, something saying, asking not after the status of the project, not saying what it is, just in case pigeon gets interrupted. Is that something we could do?
Absolutely. You write a little note, and I will summon a little birdie.
About writing a note. You're good with words. You just have a way of with them, and I'm sure whatever you
Adele,
write.
you overhear this and you decide, for the love of all that is holy, to put Walter out of his misery.
Don't worry, I can write it. I believe that my handwriting is a lot better than any of yours. Aside from Atris, of course.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I am being helpful while also insulting.
Kind of Adele's status quo.
Yeah, that checks out. Your handwriting is better. It's prettier than any of the other ones I've seen from y'all.
So Noah, what would you like to summon?
Plague Hawks. No,
Okay.
but I will aim for a large bird. Hawk, preferably.
An ostrich, just kind of.
Yeah, if I can't see any within the vicinity, I'm imagining it's pretty flat land and I'd be able to look.
Yeah, I mean, there's the occasional tree. I mean, but a lot of this place has been, what trees have been here, a lot of them have been cut down to make the town. And there's a lot of farmland around here. So a lot of that has been worked earth for people to have farms and stuff like that around here.
Noah,
Okay,
before you summon anything, I know this is a talent that I recently acquisitioned, but if you wouldn't mind just giving me a few pointers while you do it.
He likes to watch.
Yeah. Come learn.
Okay, go ahead and make your roll for summoning.
I'm gonna aim for vultures instead of hawks.
Okay.
I feel like that'd be more farmland. I haven't done this in a couple games.
I am
Alright.
currently eating a thing called a churro donut, and it is lovely.
Oh my.
Yes.
I got you that churro cake. You're fine.
I want
So I got
more.
5 successes.
Okay. 5 successes.
Every vulture in a 20-mile radius swarms the house.
You guys are sitting there in the homestead.
Atris, get an umbrella.
As all of a sudden you hear Asmodeus shouting from outside, "What the hell is all this shit?" And, as a couple of gunshots go off, and Jericho goes, right, gunshots, not minding my own business, and just goes back to what he was doing. And you hear flop, 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 this cacophony of wings. And do you guys look outside?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I do.
I'd like to grab a piece of meat first.
Sure, we'll say there's a random slab of chicken that you have.
I mean, Liam's outside with Noah looking at all this.
You guys look as, you know that scene in the first Harry Potter movie when all the owls are done with Dursley's shit and there's just like dozens and dozens of owls everywhere. You guys look around as on your barn, on the homestead, on the couple of trees that dot the property, on the ground, or just hundreds of turkey vultures just sitting there. Some of them looking kind of groggy because they're not nocturnal birds, so they're just kind of sitting there like, yeah, and you just see them as they're all sitting there looking expectantly at Noah.
Did you
I
mean
guess
to
I
call this
called
many?
too loudly. I yelled too loud.
Understood. Bartleby?
Sonoy is looking around and growling at all these birds and kind of licking his chops a little bit.
I
Bartleby,
don't think I
please,
brought enough meat.
please try and collect some of the ones that Asmodeus shot. You might want to eat them later.
No, I don't think I do want to, but I will collect them, sir. But
We have to feed the dog and the other pets eventually.
right. I won't tell Mr. Waya that you called Sonoy a pet. And he
I did not. I called him a dog. I called the other ones pets.
he starts wading through the turkey vultures that kind of move out of the way and kind of hop around. They're looking at you, Noah. You're the one that called them. They're kind of looking at you like getting a text at 3 a.m. They're just sitting there going, yeah?
To the closest one, I'll use Feral Whispers.
And I'm never gonna squawk again.
And I'm just gonna
Glorious
command him to
food.
take. I'm gonna command him to take this to the house that has a big chimney on the outside of town.
All right. Did you do the roll for commanding this thing?
No, let me just.
Because you called them successfully. Let's see if they'll listen to you. I'll say difficulty for this is going to be 7, just because this isn't a kind of animal that is normally easily trained. This is just a big old, and these things are pretty good size. I mean, they're not California condor size, but you're looking at something that like comes up past your knee.
Well, I got 4 on that roll.
Yeah, it's like, all right, you're the boss. And it flies over. In the meantime, you have hundreds of these other ones just kind of staring, looking at you.
Go away.
You are muted, Noah.
Your feral whispers are not working on us.
Or whispers like,
So, after the first one takes off with a command, I'd like to just speak openly to the others. To those of you who are willing to listen, I offer food on a regular basis and more strength than you'd imagine.
Food? What food? As you hear like a echo as it goes out from hundreds of voices just going, food, what food, mine.
Oh my god.
Oh God! First it was the rats.
Uh,
Don't
So
not
I just
support
wanted-
what I think is about to happen.
I just want to check after the gunshots. Jericho got out of there, right? He's not within ice shot.
No,
I
I mean, he didn't get out of there because no one was being aggressive to him. Your commands were, if someone's aggressive to him, to run for the hills and to ignore gunshots.
Okay,
So
so
he's just still in the barn where you guys have kind of, over the last couple of nights, set up like a little cot for him to sleep in there. And he's just saying that at this point, he's actually probably like turned over and gone back to sleep because unless you give him a direct command, this guy's still not quite nocturnal. So he's usually sleeping at night.
perfect. I'm gonna pour 2 blood points on this chicken before I hurl it out to the birds.
Fuck.
Like watching fish swarm over food, all the nearest ones
Oh, my Lord.
go for it. Let's see.
Ever lose your fries from like tripping at the beach and seeing all the seagulls just rush in? That's
All right,
happening
who
right
all
now.
is out there watching this? Who is outside?
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
I
Adele,
would've
you're
poked my
staying.
head out.
Adele too, yeah. Okay.
This is a show.
Walter, how far are you poking your head out? This matters.
Well, the door's like open, but for me, because I'm gonna just be like standing in the threshold, kinda, of the door, half in, half out, like a cat.
Okay. Schrodinger's exit.
Just fucking slack-jawed at this whole scene.
Adele, where are you gonna stand?
Over Walter's shoulder, or like around. Like,
I
going
will
on?
sidle over for you. I have at least the presence of mind to not stand in a lady's way, even if I can't process what's going on in
Oh.
front of me.
I'm still just like peeking around, just like not wanting to go out there, just like peeking, like what the hell's going on?
You're an inhuman shield.
Liam, you already said you're outside with Noah.
Nope.
Atris, where are you?
Let's say she's on the porch.
Okay. Noah and Atris, I need Noah and Liam, I need you to make a Dex plus Athletics roll for me, please. I don't even have stats for Vulture Swarm, so I'm just going to.
You're gonna need them.
The difficulty is going to be 8 because you are surrounded by these things.
Waya leaves for 3 days and the party gets attacked by vultures.
What did you say the diff was?
I got 3 successes.
8.
I got 2.
8. Damn.
Okay,
No, an
you
8
guys
difficulty, I mean.
avoid getting knocked over as this swarm of feathers and body push past you. Some of them half flying, half gliding as they dive on this piece of bloody chicken. I'd say, Noah, it's hard to tell which of them got it and which of them didn't. Give me a perception alertness roll. Difficulty is 9 because you're trying to see past this swarm of feathers and bodies.
Well, I do have heightened senses, so that'll bring the difficulty down. I got 2 successes.
I will say it looks like maybe 2 or 3 of them. It's hard to tell, but like
it was a slab of chicken. It wasn't exactly like an entire like cow carcass or something like that. So maybe 2 or 3 of them got a bite out of it before one just horks it down its throat. And telling which one is which is damn hard because, again, you just saw in the close range like 50 of these things all rugby tackle this center piece of meat. Okay. You feed them. Having given a command, the rest of them all looking food.
I'll holler at my compatriots and let them know now's the time. If you want a bird, grab some meat.
I'm good.
So just sit there in silence, like just shakes her head, like no.
One of them is sitting on Asmodeus' shoulder and kind of just pecking at his head a little bit, and he's like, "Whatever you did, you need to undo it." And he's just staring daggers at you. At this point, when they realize there isn't any more food, there's just this giant as they all start taking off. Feathers everywhere. Shit everywhere. Liam, you did not go unscathed. Noah, you look like Radagast at this point. There's just Asmodeus is looking at you like not a single word as he's just wiping it off of him. Hey! And he calls into the barn, I need you to clean my clothes. And he starts marching off to the barn to talk to Jericho. It looks like a black feather pillow company exploded on your guys' homestead. I mean, thousands of feathers and bird shit just everywhere.
Well, I guess now we can make Jericho a bed.
Ta-da!
Yes, all part of the plan. Yes.
What did you learn here, Liam?
Subtlety is key.
Masquerade? What masquerade? Okay. Miranda, is there anything that you would want Adele to do during these couple nights?
First off, she's going to be very thankful that she didn't actually go outside and doesn't have shit all over her clothes. I know we were also talking about projecting. We were talking about projecting. Liam and I were talking about that. Astral.
Oh, not emotional projecting, astral projecting. Yes, so it was suggested last game that Adele might be able to use the astral plane to peer into possibly finding Murokuro's eyes.
Okay. What do you guys want to do to that end, if anything?
Well, we do know where the eyes last were. There might be some remnants of them at that little cave we were in, but beyond that, where they go next is beyond me. But I'm not sure if they have a trail or resonate some sort of magical energy on that plane.
Worth looking at.
True. And who knows, when you're out there, you might see more black tendril anchors around.
Okay, so you're going to try and go into the spiritual plane. All right. Now, are you going astral form and on the material plane, or are you going astral form on the spiritual plane?
Good question.
The trade-off, as I understand it, I have to reread that ability real quick. Going to the astral plane, you're going to see more energy, more supernatural stuff, but it becomes that much harder to come back, bring your consciousness back to your body because you're going further away from the material plane. The material plane, it makes it a little bit easier for you to know which way you're going, following the topography and everything else. But it's basically you spying on what can be seen in this realm rather than energies and auras and things like that.
What about price? Oh, I did physical last time, right?
No, last time you went astral because you had a bit of a freak out of seeing it all for the first time. It was a little overwhelming, sensory overload. But that's how you saw the tendrils of energy because you were in the astral form and you saw that dark energy like snaking into the land.
Okay. I mean, if them's are magic eyes, I should probably do the spiritual.
Okay. What's the roll say to go ahead and do?
I don't know. Spend 1 willpower and roll awareness. Difficulty 5 for places within sight. Diff 7 for near or familiar. 9 for unknown.
Just awareness. It's not telling you to do a combination.
I said awareness, perception awareness.
Got it.
3 dice.
It's like Louise.
And what did you say the difficulty was?
5 if I've been there, 7 if I'm only a little familiar, and 9 for unknown.
I would say this is going to be diff 7 then, because you have been there, but this definitely is in a place that's not like going back to the home. Like if you were somewhere else and you wanted to spy on the homestead and check in on it, that would probably be like difficulty 5 because you now have been here for weeks and weeks and weeks. On 3 dice?
No. On 8.
Oh, okay.
I was joking that if it was just awareness, it would be 3 dice.
Got it. Okay. So I assume you set yourself on some of the furniture in the homestead so you don't just slump over in the center of everything. I'll say, Liam, you're kind of sticking near her just to keep an eye on her body. I mean, you guys are at the homestead, you're relatively safe, but while other people are doing other things, you're kind of there to see what she figures out. Once again, you allow your mind, with the power of your vitae, to drift past the physical form, leave your body. It's, again, very jarring because it's like being in a sensory deprivation tank of the whole. You feel nothing. There's no movement of air against your skin. There's no feeling fabric touching your body. It's very much a purely cerebral experience. But you're able to focus, being at least a little bit more familiar, and you push a little bit deeper as you look around, and before your eyes, the material plane, almost like a mist, starts to defocus and fall to the background of your vision, and
become faded and gray and unfocused. Once again, the spiritual plane, there's the basic topography of the land. And you look over towards the town and you see little beacons of light, and you get that that's probably the people that are living there and walking around, and that look like little pinpricks of light from the distance of where the homestead is from there. And you focus on the estimated direction that you remember the meeting place that Murkuro sent you all to. And you think, and there's just this whoosh. It's almost sickening if you actually had a body to feel nauseous of going at the speed of thought as you're just traveling hundreds of feet per second, and just a flash as things are going by because your mind is focused in on this spot. And you look, and there is, in the same way that there was the black corruption energy for the anchor that you guys found in town, you see a swirl of condensed, almost like not that Adele would know what this looks like, but for Miranda's sake, the eye of like a hurricane. And you see all this energy, beautiful different colors, and white and blue and red and green and yellow energy swirling around inside this place. And you get very much that this was not just a spiritual place to the Lupines because of history and personal connection, that they maybe chose this place because there's a collection of spiritual energy, and it's like trying, the mists of energy are so thick you can't even see through it. You would have to like walk through it, and it's almost like you can just see the light. It's like someone shining their high beams through a thick fog. You can see the light swirling in there, but it's obscured by just the sheer thickness of this energy. Every so often you see a bit of it wisp off, and you see it kind of take shape very loosely, not anything physical or firm, but you'll see a couple of bison running off of it, and an eagle come out and fly, and then just as it starts to take form, it kind of like clouds in the wind starts to dissipate a bit, and some of it trails off, some of it comes back in. Every so often you swear it looks like people walking, running, moving around. Just there seems to be a collection of memories and things that were imbued into this place. What do you do?
Keep pushing forward to kind of see what else there is.
Give me a willpower roll, please.
Current.
Total, and it's going to be diff 7. Okay. It's very disorienting, not only because you're not very practiced with this ability yet, you're still kind of learning the ropes, but also just a sheer mass of energy. And for a split second, you think you kind of lose yourself a bit. It's kind of getting turned around, but you're able to focus in and push past the barrier as you look into this place, and you go down into the area that had the star map on the top with the stalag, and then the terrain map on the bottom. And you see a lot of energy that looks humanoid. Some of it looks like wolves, like normal sized wolves. Other of it looks like the big giant horse-sized wolves. Some of it looks like the battle form of the lupine. Some of it looks like humanoids, children, vaguely. It's hard to tell gender because it's very much just generic shapes rather than specifics at this point. You would have to really focus in on one or the other but you're just getting and people touching the walls, people writing, children playing on the ground, people sitting in what you can tell is like conversation and meetings, and you're getting flashes. It's hard to tell if these are actual spirits that have their own consciousness, or if it's more of just imprinted memories on a place that you've heard things and you've read things in your time, whether it be during your immortal years and things like ghost stories, or even people that feel like they've seen angels or something beyond the mortal scope of existence, to ever since you became a vampire. While you don't know if it's true or not, you've heard of other clans that swear that they have abilities to connect with the spiritual plane more than just looking at auras and stuff. But this is feeling a lot like aura to you. They don't seem to pay any mind to you. They don't try to interact with you or look up when your consciousness enters the room. So you're getting more of that. It's very similar to when you read auras in the living plane, and these are just echoes or imprints that are here, and almost on the edge of your hearing, you swear you can, even the things that are right in front of you sound far away. You're very much scratching the surface of another plane rather than being fully in it at this point. You push further in to the inner chamber where actually, give me a alertness. Awareness roll since you're on the spiritual plane.
Awareness brought to you by.
Difficulty is going to be 7. It's a little bit easier to look around, but it's still, you're trying to get used to navigating. I will say one thing that you do notice that's very interesting is, while a lot of other places, like for example, like when you look at the town, you see old buildings that aren't there and the shape of things are different, or some buildings are not there at all and you just see the energy of the land itself, the buildings that haven't been there long enough to have their own spectral energy. This place, rock for rock, every bit of it looks like a glowing version, almost like it's lit up by bioluminescence of when you were there physically. And you kind of get the idea that this place is so spiritual and has been here for long enough, and whether it's innate spirituality or something that these people imbued into the place by being there and putting faith and everything into it, it's very easy to navigate this space because the very stone seems to be glowing with this natural energy. What was yours? How many did you roll? Four successes. Okay. You look off to the side cavern that led where Murkrow, before he passed, warned you all of beware of the spider's web. And the energies down there seem a lot darker, where everything else seems kind of bright. Not the same darkness as like you saw from the corruption from the Elder. It's a different flavor, but it kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies. There's where everything else, it seems to be bright and at least neutral. It doesn't seem positive or negative. It just exists. Things seem a little bit darker down there, almost like light is trying to go down there and is getting sucked down and disappearing into the darkness. And it kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies down there a little bit. And so you focus on the antechamber that you guys went into that had the steam vents. And as you push into that room, you see a stain. Now, you know how to read auras and everything else. This looks like almost a scar, like when earth gets scorched right around the chair where Mirko's body had been. And you're used to reading auras, and the energy you read is pain and anger and sadness, just this combination of different hurtful, painful emotions. And it's almost like marred this room that otherwise was bright and shining. And you very much get that what was done here, the energy that was put forth by doing that, definitely hurt the land, and stained it in kind of a way. You do look at the murals though, and those are glowing very brightly. They're the ones that start at the center and kind of spiral out and down around the walls and onto the floor. Each one of those symbols is glowing extremely brightly, and they are full on moving. What you guys thought you saw when he was sitting there and trying to look into the visions through the steam is full on. You're seeing all these different scenes kind of playing out in almost like a loop, where the scene goes so far and then stops, and then you would have to look at the next scene to see what the continuation of the story is, because it seems to be mostly highlights. It's not like it's every second of their entire people's history. It's the highlight reel. So again, it's a lot of motion, a lot of color, a lot of light. It's a little bit confusing. What exactly would you like to look for in this room?
Eyeball energy. No. Is there a way for me to, like, similar to for a perception, can I see like non-vampire energy like leaving where the chair was?
Go ahead and make a perception plus empathy. Awareness roll. Difficulty is going to be 9. One success. Okay. It's very difficult, mostly because of the mixture of other energies. What you're starting to understand about this and looking at the astral plane is, for things to leave an imprint in the astral plane, you're getting the idea that they had to have been there for quite some time. That auras you can read pretty easily because it's literally a constant thing that you're getting in real time when you're reading people or objects or things like that. Spirit's touch is a little bit different. You get, maybe if you touch the chair, maybe you'll see a flash of something more. But as far as just looking around, from what you're seeing of the things that are permanently there, like I said, the figures that you're seeing are very extremely wispy, while the actual structure of this is the only thing that seems glowing with a very solid and constant energy. So you're getting the idea that the longer something has been in the astral plane, the more of a solid, cohesive, readable energy it's leaving behind.
So I know if I spend a willpower, I can be physically seen or heard. But if I do that, can I also spirits touch while in this form?
Seen and heard does not mean physical interaction. Your physical body is not there. Your physical body is back at the homestead. However, I will say you can try to float over to the chair, and if you make a willpower roll, difficulty is going to be 9 again because you're trying to figure this out.
We'll see what you get out of it.
I swear, if there are a flock of astral turkey vultures,
Food.
That's what's causing that little vortex. It's just birds.
I got a 10 and a 1, and then the 1 went
Aw.
into a 5. So
Unfortunately, Spirit's Touch is a whole different thing. You get the idea that in this form, you're seeing what's there, not what was. That's a whole different kind of ability. And you get the idea that something that is no longer there is obviously not currently projecting an aura that is easier to read. I will say with your other roles that corruption energy, it's the strongest on the chair and the areas immediately surrounding it, where you get the idea that Mirko's blood and life energy kind of spilled out onto the ground. You do see a very faint trail of that energy. You catch it, it's almost like catching a little bit of like red and energy that's moving in a stream out of there. And it's like, the best way I can describe it is like you are feeling and seeing something that would be the equivalent of smelling something where like someone baked cookies 5 days ago in a kitchen kind of thing. You catch a whiff of it, and then the moment you try and focus on it, it's kind of, and it leads out of the room. Go ahead and do what do you want to do?
I think, so I don't push my luck too much, at this point I'm going to come back.
Give me a wits plus survival roll real quick. Yes. With one success, in the direction that wisp of energy seems to be going, it's at least, you try and think what's in that direction of that the trail is leading from. The only thing you can think of is what Henry, or I should say what Waya figured out when they looked at the topographical map of the direction that the village, that the secret village of the Lupines was supposed to be. Now, again, there could be thousands of other places in that general direction, but at the very least, that's the only thing that you're aware of that is also in that direction. So it could be a possible lead at the very least. What's your role for getting back to your body? No, I know there's something, because there's always the risk of you not coming back to your... What's...
It doesn't say in what you put in there.
Okay, let me check.
I think botching her initial roll is that risk.
You could be permanently separated.
unfortunately, that is always a risk when you leave your physical body and go into the astral world. If you're not tethered properly, you can get lost, and then your body is just a soulless husk.
That sounds very unpleasant.
Yeah, Walter's correct that failure on the initial roll means that you're not able to separate from your body. Botch means, oh yeah, you separate, but getting back to your body is going to be probably a side mission for you guys.
Like your eyes.
So, Liam, you're sitting there, and now, Adele, for you, this happened all in the... It seemed like it took quite a time. You were gone for quite some time, you would think. Liam, she was only gone for a few minutes, and suddenly she snaps back and her eyes open, and she sits up in the chair.
That was weird. There's a fuck ton of dark energy around where he was sitting in that one room where the body was. There was a lot of fucking energy there. It was weird.
Hmm.
And then I tell them about the tiny little trail that you had mentioned too, and the other details.
So seems like either way we're being pointed in the direction of the village, so at least we're on the right track. Hmm.
I had
Oh.
hoped I could touch his chair and see like who else was there before us, but apparently that don't work when I'm
You can fondle that chair.
But no, I appreciate the effort at least. But no, it seems that I don't know. It's more of an affirmation that we're on the right road for this. Oh,
All
I
right,
do hope. Oh, yes.
go ahead, Liam.
I'm saying I do hope to join you one day there. Seems interesting.
It certainly was. It was, I can't describe it. It was, things were there, but they weren't. And it was like aura when I read someone's auras, but different.
I can
It
understand
was
that.
exactly like the thing, but not.
It's either Marvin Gaye or it's not Marvin Gaye.
Let's get it on.
All right. So if no one else has any other burning things, Waya,
Burning.
if your burning thing lasts for more than 3 hours, consult a physician. Waya.
I would
So
like
we're gonna
one
go
burning
back in time a little bit for you. So you fly as far as you can that first night after coming across that meeting and you leaving Taylorsville, until you feel you eventually fly past it enough that the corruption seems to dissipate, and you get the idea that it's spreading out in kind of a circular pattern. You see the rat holes, you see a couple of the rats popping their heads out here and there. But after you get a few miles away from it, you start to see vegetation return, other nocturnal animal life, and you push it as far as you can before you know that dawn's coming. I assume you use your earth meld to drop down into the earth so that way you can weather the dawn.
Yep. As the cost of 1 blood point.
Okay. You go ahead and do that. Go ahead and make your nightmares roll.
No fire to put your hand in. I'm sure the shit.
5, 6, 7.
Wayo sleepwalks, makes a fire, sticks his hand in.
Is the difficulty 7 or 8?
Should say
7.
yeah,
Right.
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 successes. I rolled extremely well.
You sleep very much like the dead. So
Finally, away from everybody else, I can sleep soundly.
Finally, you know peace in your solitude.
Right.
All right, you wake up, burn blood.
Okay.
You fly again. It takes you the better part of the evening. Go ahead and make a wits plus survival roll.
All right. One success.
You're fairly certain at a certain point that you've crossed over from the Texaco, the
Over into Chevron territory.
Yeah.
from Texas into Mexican territory. As you're going further and further south, you're seeing that this is very much a desert. Not necessarily what we think of desert like the Sahara and everything, but very much badlands.
You said moving into Mexico, right?
Correct. And knowing the directions, because you very much studied looking at the map that Henry showed you of where to go, I would say it's pretty late. It's about 3 a.m. by this point, but you make it to where you think, and you do see it is a very small town, even smaller than St. Angelo. But this does seem to be the town that the
Bros.
Primrose place is.
Okay, so I think I found the place. All right. I'm gonna get a good distance away. How long do you think I have before the sun rises?
About 3 hours.
That should be enough time, hopefully. Or maybe I should do it. Let me see. Just give me 1 second. Let me check my blood reserves. That's 5, 1, 2. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sleep one more night, and then I'm gonna go in there in the morning, or in the earlier night.
Okay. Do you decide to sleep in the earth again?
Yeah, I'm gonna be safe, and I'm gonna do that.
Okay, spend the blood for that again.
I'm gonna make sure to do that not too far from town, so I can just kind of walk there.
Yeah, I figured. I'll say you do it just outside of town, so no one sees you transform from the owl back into Waya. Okay, so you spend the blood to sink down into the earth. Go ahead and give me one more nightmares roll.
Oh yes, nightmares. Two successes.
You're fine.
Excellent.
You wake up, spend a blood.
And I'm gonna spend one for Blush of Health as well.
Okay. How far down are you?
That'll be. I'll be down 7, but I have 8 remaining.
Okay. So you're still above half, so you're still keeping control of yourself. You wake up, it's about 7 o'clock at night. And I'd say at 6:37, something like that. It's winter, so it gets dark pretty quick. Town is within walking distance. What do you do?
Kind of dust myself off, make myself look a little presentable, adjust, make sure the ears are hidden with the hat, and I will make my way into town and head to the Primrose.
Okay. You walk into town. Combination of brick and adobe buildings. You see that there are people still active and alert. Couple of ladies, couple of gentlemen, no kids at this time of night. You get that most of the kids are at home or things like that. This very much seems to be like an outpost kind of town. You get you're kind of looking around, and it very much seems it has a general store that you can kind of tell. First thing you notice is that all the signs are in Spanish. But just from the look of things, you see a general store, you see couple other like necessity kind of places.
There is a well there, and what looks like potentially a building that got turned into a garrison of some kind. You actually see a couple of people in some sort of uniform, uh, Spanish soldiers. I should say specifically Mexican military. And it seems like they've kind of turned this place into, you get the idea that probably because of the water, like in the desert, water is kind of important. So to most of the living folks. So you get the idea that that alone would be enough to make this place kind of useful. And you know, it's not too far away from if you guys had to ride to the Alamo. So you know that that's where Walter knew about this place from back in his cavalry days. And other than that, it does seem like it's kind of maybe a barracks, but not like a full establishment. Just you get the idea that it probably could house a garrison of guys in there.
It's all you need.
And as you're looking around, you do see a place that painted on the adobe front of the place with a wood awning and porch. There is a large painted green stemmed with 2 leaves coming off and large white rose, actually.
La
painted.
prima rosa.
Yep, correct. And that's what it says on the front of the place, painted on the building itself. And you notice a couple of horses hitched up to the front and the side of the place in the back alley. You see a couple people laughing and talking. People are going in and out because, again, it's still relatively early at night. You see lights on inside, hear a bit of music and people laughing, seeming to have it's not a ruckus place, but it seems to be in a small place like this. This is where entertainment would be. Other than you gather when you look around, I'll say you see 1 or 2 places that could potentially be small brothels or whorehouses kind of thing, because that was a very common business in lots of places of this time.
Alrighty. I'm gonna head on in and see what's cracking on the inside.
Okay, you go ahead and walk in, and for the most part, it actually give me a perception alertness roll. Let's see how much you take in.
Does Waya hit his head on the door frame? Find out next time.
Oh, that thing's fun for everyone.
At the very least, I double botched today when it wasn't life threatening.
3 successes.
So you take in the place, a decent sized establishment, nothing huge or giant like the Golden Goose, but it's a decent sized place. There's a couple of poker tables set up. Couple people are playing poker. A couple people look like they're playing Faro, but no more than like 2 of each. So like 2 poker tables, 2 Faro tables. The bar is a U-shaped bar with a portly guy behind it with a mustache that kind of comes up in almost like a handlebar a little bit, just on the edge. Yes. And a bit of it balding on top with his hair kind of combed over to try and cover it. There's a couple of women inside. Hard to tell if they're servers or if they're prostitutes. Hard to tell either way, or just, patrons themselves. You see a couple guys playing cards. You see multiple uniformed individuals in there, all seeming to be after hours when they're off duty, letting off some steam. And a couple of other guys that look like maybe farmhands or just local townspeople and there is a guy playing piano off in the side, and yeah, it seems to be a relatively lively place, especially this time of night. People are having drinks, people are having a good time, some people playing darts. It just seems to be overall a place where people go to. It's the one local watering hole where everyone goes to let off some steam.
Nice. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to approach the bar. How big would you say this place is?
By size comparison, I would say maybe 20 by 20.
Oh wow. Okay. Got
No,
it.
well, maybe a little bit bigger than that now that I'm thinking about it.
Don't size shame the place.
You know the size of my living room?
Yes, I do.
For the
About-
audience at home,
Yeah. So, oh no. Miranda, what would you say our living room is?
You know, that's exactly the size I thought of when you said 20 by 20 was your living room specifically.
yeah, that sounds about right, actually.
I've got ADHD, understanding
I get it.
distance and size of things. Nah.
It's a size of, for those at home, if you had like a grand living room, the entire building would fit in that. What people call a great room. So the one size of one great room would be the entire building. And it does seem to have an upstairs where people can rent rooms, and you see a banister going around, that there does seem to be a second story to the place.
Okay. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna start by sitting at the bar and just taking in the place and waiting to talk to the tender behind it. I
Okay.
think.
The strong silent type is met by yet another strong silent type.
Well, because isn't there something that is it I'm supposed to say to them?
It is. Now, for everyone at home,
I couldn't
I
remember. if
beg
it was
you to
something-
forgive me. It has been years since high school Spanish.
Oh God, you're actually gonna do this? Okay.
¿Qué puedo consecuente?
I don't. This is gonna be great because I don't speak any Spanish, and neither does Waya.
CONSEGUIRTE.
Ándale, fuera. ¿Quieres algo a comer? Do you want a drink? Cerveza? Beer?
Oh, agua.
Yeah, the guy speaks to you in Spanish first, and it seems to be. Give me a perception plus empathy.
Empathy. Six.
He seems to be asking you something, is what you can tell from his body language and from the tone of his voice. He's asking you something.
¿Dónde estás la biblioteca?
I'll point to one of the glasses, and I'll say beer.
Okay. And he pours you a beer and puts it down.
Oh God, how much do I give him? I'll just
Are you gonna convert into pesos?
I'll take out $1 and I'll just put it on the table.
Oh wow.
I'd
Oh,
imagine Waya wouldn't have coins on him. So
And he just he takes it and slides it over, and he kind of looks at it and just like.
and while I have his eye contact, I think this is what I say. The shade of the rose bush is mighty comfortable. I believe, right? Or am I supposed to say the second half? But I will say that to him in English.
Okay, so because I'm gonna say this is important. Do you say the first half, or do you say that? What do you say? Like,
What? What? I mean, I thought.
you had one job, Waya. You had.
Well, I
one...
thought my understanding was he's supposed to say it to me, then I repeat the second
Okay,
half.
go ahead and just roll wits for me, please. Just standard wits roll.
0.
Okay, let's go with what you thought then. You thought that. So he looks at you and you drink for a bit, and do you keep on like poignantly staring at him?
I mean, yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how else to get his attention since I don't even speak the same language he does.
Yeah. He goes, the shade of the rose bush is very comfortable.
Then I will say, if you don't mind the thorns.
He kind of looks around and he goes. He nods up the stairs, upstairs.
I will nod to him, take my drink, and walk it upstairs. Is there now while I'm walking up there, does it seem like I've caught anyone else's attention?
Perception alertness. Alertness.
Alertness. Woo. Oh, it's 4 now. Whoops, that's an extra dice.
And I'll say it's gonna be diff 7 to kind of just do this casually without like poignantly staring back at everybody.
3 successes.
I mean, they're definitely looking at you as mainly because you're a stranger. You're a big, tall, fucking built like a brick shit house, scarred up Native American person walking in here. Yeah, you usually draw the eyes of at least a few people in most places that you walk into for the first time.
True. Okay. If that's all I'm feeling like I'm getting, I'll just continue my walk upstairs.
Okay. You definitely feel like you're getting a few eyes. And
Mira, ese muchacho es muy alto.
Thank you, Danny, for adding flavor context to background.
It's called Tabasco.
Tapatio. It's on everything. But you go upstairs, and there seem to be about on each side there are on the left, immediately up when you get up the landing, there are 3 doors. There are 2 doors on the next adjoining wall, and then 3 more doors on the other side.
So would you say there are 3 doors down?
Yes.
So they're up.
You said 3 on one side, 1 on the other?
3 on one side, so like 3 on the right side, that is where the ladders lead up. 3 on the left side, and then on the adjoining wall, there's 2.
Is there any sign? No, I guess there wouldn't be a sign like, "Hey, enter here."
Secret meeting place here. Don't come in if you're not supposed to.
Right. I'll just what I'll do is I'll kind of walk down the hall all the way down, and I'll try to listen in and see if I can hear commotion on behind any of the doors to see if I can maybe pinpoint where a place of a lot of people would be behind one of these doors.
Okay.
Could I do that without putting my ear like straight to the door, or would that be like me going to up to every door and like investigating?
I'll say give me just a perception plus investigation roll. Perceptigate.
Okay. That sounds fun.
Just to try and do this casually.
6 successes.
Okay. Very smoothly and casually, you are able to traverse the area around here, and you kind of make it look like you're trying to find your room, because you get the idea that some of these are just for people that are looking for a room for the night or something like that. That's what these are up here. And as you look, you listen around, and one thing sounds like snoring. Someone that maybe had been partying earlier in the day and conked out early. You hear the squeaking of a bed from another one, and the very notable sounds of someone having a good time, and or at least pretending to. And
So they're playing Monopoly.
yes,
Yes. Uno.
draw 4. You listen to one, and it's not so much what you hear, it's what you don't hear. You definitely hear hushed tones where it's kind of muffled through the door of people that are trying to. It sounds like 2 different voices, a male and a female voice, and they're trying to keep quiet. But again, these rooms aren't built. This isn't a police interrogation room. They're not soundproof, insulated walls. So you can hear the little muffled bits backs and forths of conversation, but you can hear it coming from there, and it sounds like people that are trying to keep their voice down.
It sounds like 2 people, you said, man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, now I'm scared. Okay. I'm gonna get closer to that door and try to get my ear to the door and see if I can make out the conversation.
Okay. This one first. Give me a Dex plus Stealth roll. No, actually, sorry. I want you to give me a Charisma plus Performance roll. This is for how well you're like trying to, or are you not caring and you just going for it where you're obviously eavesdropping on this door?
No, I'm not gonna make it obvious.
Okay, then I need you to make the Charisma Performance to try and seem innocent.
Okay. I will use a willpower here.
Okay.
Man, I just keep rolling really well. Holy shit.
I'm sorry for your loss.
5 successes?
Okay. Yeah, you are able to lean not against the door itself, but on the wall as a space in between, and just pretend like you're milking your beer. You're just a dude hanging out. Yes, that is how we make beer, from beer cows. If only. But that's how we get milk stouts, okay?
It's true.
GMO makers, get on this.
Yes. And okay, now give me a perception alertness. Difficulty is 8, but then you can add your your ears aren't out, so just
normal. Well, I rolled the wrong dice. Oh.
What are you rolling, D20s?
One was a 20, one was a 12. I just kind of grabbed them.
I got an 18. Is that a success?
Yeah, right.
Natural 30.
2 successes.
Okay. You're not able to make out everything clearly. Because again, while they aren't soundproof rooms, you're trying to overhear people that are purposely trying to keep their voices down.
Yeah.
Through a door. While there's also a good bit of noise pollution coming from downstairs, So it's not like the area is deathly quiet where you can, but you're trying to tune it out and listen. You pick up a woman saying something to the effect of, well, you know, this isn't going to be cheap. I understand that, but it's very important to me. I can see that. Otherwise, you would not have sought out my services. More than anything, I need assurances that your group can be discreet. You've been garnishing a lot of attention lately, and the last thing I need is more eyes on this. I'm not the only one looking for it. You pay us to do a job, we will do the job. My crew can do what is needed to be done.
The person who says that, is that the female or the male?
The female.
So it sounds like the female is the one who has the gang or has the tools to accomplish the job that the male is talking about.
Correct. Go ahead and give me a... This is for memory, so just give me wits.
My wits is bad, yo. Real bad, yo. That's a 0.
Okay. Anyway, that's what you pick up so far from the conversation.
Well, I remember, hopefully Waya would remember then, that I think Walter talked about the leader of his old gang, or did he ever talk about that? No, he didn't, actually. He didn't bring up the female, I don't think.
We kind of, okay, so like they were brought up a
I
little bit at
don't
the end
want
of the
this
mission.
to be metagaming, though. If it's metagaming, I'm not
No,
sure.
he brought it up a little bit when he was looking at the...
He talked about her, but her position in the gang, I don't think he talked about. Or anything like that. I'm pretty sure.
In game, as far as our playtime, the one thing Walter has done is mutter to himself out loud, and said her name a couple of times, but
for Chad's
not
sake,
to anyone. And yeah,
I trust Walter. He would know what his character would say. So I'm
just saying, Walter, are you saying that you said her name out loud?
I would have called her Louie under my breath. I think in like the sheriff's office, actually.
Okay.
And I would have. I still like. I told Waya about this place.
Ouch.
Right?
Yeah,
right? You did. You told me this is where to go.
So, I wouldn't send my blood brother in with like 0 knowledge of the people around, but all the same, I think I kept my mouth shut about the inner workings of them and who they are.
Okay.
Right. I
actually really kept my mouth shut about this, but I don't think I've told Waya much about them.
Okay.
Actually.
No, you told him about the place and you told him what to look out for and everything else. But as far as she goes, you had no idea. What you just heard that she's been doing jobs along the Mexican Texas border lately.
Right.
So the Texaco border. But
yeah,
other than
I don't think I even bothered actually to mention to him that he might run into a familiar face.
No, because you've been hearing that she's been doing jobs, but there was nothing to connect it to this, so you never brought it up.
I mean,
I leave it
straight up knows.
Yeah. I mean, I leave it up to you if Walter ever mentioned it to the gang in the years that you guys have known each other, but
No,
Okay.
I don't think you did, so I'm not going to run off that information.
Okay.
No, because Liam even tried to blame their gang for what happened on the train heist, and even though Walter cheers against it, Walter didn't tell Liam anything else about them.
Okay, he's playing that one tight to the breast. So,
Yeah. Well, fuck. I'm trying to look for
22,
Beckett.
28. 22, 28.
Okay. Is there God, I can't fucking remember. Other than just looking for Beckett, what is the other reason? Was there any other? That was the main reason I came.
you are
here.
looking for Beckett to see if he's heard anything about this orb of the blood moon.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
that is your only reason for coming
Cool.
down here. Of that
you got me
through
sidetracked on something
yeah.
else. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shit. Other than barging in through random rooms, what I'm gonna do is I'll just kind of wait on the wait upstairs and see and wait for the meeting to adjoin to wait for a person to leave the room
Okay.
that I'm listening into, but I'm gonna get further away from the door so it doesn't seem obvious that I'm waiting for someone.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna wait and see who leaves that door.
Okay.
I apologize, but I lied slightly because in front of the entire group when we met Marius, I think, in the mission.
Yeah, the mission
Walter
guy.
Clearly had to have a conversation in front of the group with him about how he's familiar with them, and a little bit of back and forth. It was still pretty clipped, and Walter didn't go into detail to the group about any history, but there's familiarity.
Yeah.
But at any rate, the group, including Waya, would be aware of that gang's name, and at least that Marius is in it, and that they're this direction,
Yeah, the Sudden Hearts gang. I remember.
Because it's now come up a couple times, and you're muted. Sorry.
The guy you meant at the mission was not named Marius.
Shoot.
I have his name in my.
He had two names. He asked us to call him something else, but then
all I know is he was a Mexican guy, black slicky hair. He was impersonating who they thought was someone, and he was impersonating them.
His name was
or whatever.
Alonso de Guadalajara Cortez.
There we go.
But he said that those that know him well call him Dante.
Marius is a very, very different person, incidentally.
Yeah, that's a whole different group of players
Oklahoma.
and a different.
Yeah, that's another world. But yeah, and I'm just gonna wait and see how long it takes for someone to leave that meeting.
Okay. You wait a bit, and eventually you see a blonde-haired woman exit.
Oh, wrong notebook.
Wearing a white shirt, tan pants, boots, a black leather vest on, cowboy hat, and you notice that one of her eyes is covered with an eye patch. And you notice that there's a red heart that looks like it's been sewed over the eye patch. And she leaves with a African-American guy, very well built, bald head, extremely muscular, wearing blue jeans, a red shirt, and a duster, as the two of them exit out of the room and down the stairs.
Okay. Um. Well, shit. That doesn't really give me much. I guess I'm gonna. My other thing would be to go downstairs and
Do you leave as soon as they exit the building?
or exit. I'll wait a little bit to
Okay.
make it a little inconspicuous.
You wait a little bit
hopefully.
longer, and the door opens one more time.
Oh, okay.
You see a gentleman with long brown hair, red sunglasses covering his eyes,
Oh man.
gloves,
There we go.
and a familiar face as you see Cuthbert Beckett holding a briefcase and exiting the room, doing a quick look around left and right to make sure that no one's like watching him. And he looks over and he kind of does a double take as he sees you sitting there and
Why does everyone react to our party like
Nobody likes us, dude.
it's almost his thing where he chooses to audibly sigh and breathe. And
Do you remember what we put Beckett through?
Yeah, for real. He got the short end of the stick pretty bad. Kind of had to mend that relationship.
He walks over to you. What are you possibly doing here?
Well, that's a long story, but looking for you, actually. This is the short end of it. You have time to talk?
Sure, fine. Yes.
It's not too urgent if that calms your nerves.
Just tell me you didn't anger some other mortal trying to mess with magic, and I don't know if I want to deal with another elemental debacle.
Good news, it's not that, but it is a problem.
Of course it is.
We need to talk specifics somewhere safe, and I'll kind of do a look around. Plus, I don't speak their language.
Then why did you come? Oh, fine. All right. Tomorrow night. I'm in town. I need to conclude some business anyway. Meet me tomorrow night. He goes over to the window. He's like, look, and without pointing to be obvious, you see the alleyway down there. Walk down three rows, make a left, a right, and then another left. The first building you see there with the blue roof. I have someone that owes me a favor, and I'm staying there. Come see me tomorrow evening, and we can talk.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you know, I take it since you're staying there, there's no real place to lay low around here? I'm sure I'm off on my own devices.
This place isn't quite established enough to have permanent residences for us set up.
Well, I figured I can work something out. So,
as
lived off the
memory
land.
serves, you're rather clever about that.
Yeah, I can live off the land.
Right then, tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening.
And he walks and he takes a couple steps down the stairs and he turns back and he just gives you a nod with his hat and then keeps walking.
Well, that was easier than I expected. I say to myself, I kind of like look at this beer that I'm just like babysitting and put it on the. Is there anyone up there, or is it just
There's a
me?
couple of people. You see some people are just hanging out and talking. You see there is a bit of movement back and forth. I mean, people are renting rooms, so
I'll kind of just lean over the banister and pay attention to people, just look around, intentionally leave my beer there by mistake, and walk out of the place after it's been a good while. I'd say like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes since
Okay.
Beckett left.
Okay.
Just kind of indiscreetly make my way out.
Okay. We'll say that you easily can find somewhere to bed down, even if it's in the earth.
Yeah, I would like to hunt too. Hopefully, if I need to travel a good distance to do it, I figure I have majority of the night.
Yeah, you can spend the most of the.
Two larger animals. I don't know. You would tell me how much blood point that would be. I could spend good time.
I mean, I could say you could find a farmer who has a couple of cattle that you could probably
And
be
Bingo
El
was his
Chupacabra.
name, oh.
Like, you become El Chupacabra and you're out there eating livestock.
Old flashbacks of Old Man Williams's place. Just
I mean, turn into a wolf, go eat a couple cows and goats. Yeah, you'll become a local legend.
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I'll say you can easily find people have livestock here. You're able to go into barns and stuff like that and find.
I will do that.
Okay. Flashing back to the rest of the group. So this for you is your third. Where that would be, you're on the third night. This is your
would be
guys'
the
third
third night.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So on the third night, you guys all wake up. You're making your preparations. You're doing what you're doing around the thing, and Jericho.
I finished blooding the little old lady real quick.
Yeah. Now, do you tell her anything, or do you just keep the ruse going?
Keep the ruse.
Okay. You can now add a separate column for a 1-point ghoul. And again, I don't think you're planning on bringing her into combat, so I don't think we'll have to worry about rolling up full stats for her. At this point, unless you decide to give her information on what she is or bring her along with, she's just a point of contact, and she seems very amenable to
her entire reason is just for me to facilitate rumor mills through the town.
Easily done.
Old lady Margaret.
And I'd say you could probably easily talk her into like giving you like discounts and shit for the stuff that she will give you preference to other jobs if you continue to patron her. Early on in the night, as Liam gets back, Jericho stumbles in and goes, I finished picking up most of the feathers as best I could, have them in a big pile out back somewhere. Some of y'all also got some mail. I wanted to look after it for you, so I figured I'd give it to you. So that's why I came.
We have mail.
Mail? Who's sending us mail?
Everyone's like question mark. Oh no!
We sent mail.
We're gonna Blue's Clues it.
Well, I mean, it was kind of left on the front porch, and I didn't want to just leave it there. And
there's a person that we wrote to, so you know maybe here, give it here. And I snatched the letter from him.
There's several. There's 3 actually.
Does anyone know a woman named Anne Thrax?
Nah, if they were looking for Waya, it would unfortunately be smallpox.
Oh boy. I grab all 3 and then see that it's 3.
Because it's true.
No. And I stare puzzled and then hold them straight out to the center of us.
Okay, the center of you.
Like we're a group, and then I just kind of turn to Liam.
Yeah. Okay, who are these two?
One is a decent enough handwriting, and it's actually made out to Walter, and it says then in parentheses, or one of you. The other one in a very fancy, almost looking like the inside of old manuscripts written by monks and things like that. Where it's very beautifully done, very beautifully cursive. Adele. Adele Berretot is on the address to the front, and there's a bit of a perfume to that one, floral scent. And the last one is actually out to Atris.
Oh, there is one for me. Okay. Who's,
Well, here you go. Walter, would you like me to read you yours over here in the corner?
Depends what it says.
Would you like
Is
me to
it-
read it to myself first?
Sure.
Nothing to hide.
We've been trying to reach you about your horse's extended warranty.
Oh no, dude. No.
I regularly maintain and change my horse's fluids every 3,000 miles. Don't worry.
They're actually self-changing. It's very convenient. But
Oh my god.
Liam, you read it, and again, it's a decent enough handwriting. It's nothing overly fancy. You do notice a bit of soot and like smudges on it. The paper seems kind of like dirty.
I just wipe my
and-
hand on Noah, realize it
Your
gets
hand-
dirtier.
your hand gets dirtier and somehow slimier, kind of thing. You quickly read down to the bottom of who sent it, and it is actually from Josephine, saying, very simple, it's done.
Walter.
And then in parentheses, or actually further down, she goes, whichever one of y'all's reading this to him, do me a favor and make a lot of faces like it's something big and important.
Liam will
Just like to pull his leg a little bit. And then
Liam will spend a blood point and will a single blood tear
What?
to trace down his cheek.
I need you to make a charisma plus performance roll. With the blood tail, lower the difficulty. It's difficulty 5. You are doing a fantastic job.
Against what?
Go ahead and give me your perception plus subterfuge, because subterfuge is just
Subterfuge? Okay.
yeah, because it's for subterfuge is used both for telling lies and reading through lies.
Okay. All right. Well, one of us is a lot better at this than the other of us.
Oh, I got
Why
4
you always-
successes.
Okay. Why you always lie?
Oh my god. Oh, hold up.
Oh.
Is this
Well,
a
I got
eureka
shit.
moment?
I got 4 as well.
Hey, tie goes to the person trying. So, yeah, it's a pretty believable thing as a single blood tear rolls down Liam's cheek as his hand shakes a little bit as he's reading. And this is addressed to you, Walter. So this is some pretty heavy shit.
Are you cursed? Did you? Is that letter hurting you?
Walter, sit down. Sit
Words
down.
do hurt.
Bad letter. Bad.
Sit down.
Shit. Wait, I'm not walking over there.
No, just. It's from
At this-
Josephine.
At this point, Henry's looking over, Bartleby's looking over, Jericho's just kind of awkwardly staring.
Wait, I knew it. Wait, what? Why? Why?
Walter,
What?
Walter, hug me. Hug me.
Damn it! I'm buying this, so yeah, I'll walk over to you.
And I just-
Walter's actually gonna like get side by side and put his arm around your shoulder and go, hey, what the hell? And he's going to attempt to read the letter.
You see this word right here?
There's only a couple there. And then why? Which one?
The gun is ready.
Oh my God, you're right. That is beautiful. Finally.
I'm so happy.
Me too.
I'll say for the sake of this scene, Asmodeus is not in the room when you say that. Otherwise, he probably would be saddling up his horse and riding out without you guys.
The boy.
It's a gun.
So yeah, so that is the letter from Josephine to Walter and the group, essentially, because she knows he can't read.
I want to see it. We also never found out what we got from Jericho's haul, by the way.
Oh yeah, shit. You guys get a total of about $500 worth of various odds and ends. Some of it in pocket watches, some of it in jewelry, some of it in actual currency. He did find the deed to his house, so you guys get that. But yeah, all in all, about $500 worth of goods, which for this time period be a decent amount.
And we know it's about like roughly 16 times the amount just for inflation. So.
Yeah, of course. So while Miranda checks that, who wants to read? If she's checking that, Atris, what are you going to do with your letter?
Yeah, she'll go ahead and open it up and read it.
It is all in Arabic.
Arabissal.
And you realize it's from someone that you know that was from one of the cells that you used to travel with for certain missions back east. So this took some time getting to you. This took months to get there. So unfortunately, this is the speed at which information travels, short of them sending something. Yeah, unless they send something telepathically or supernaturally, this is the speed of communication these days. But you're instantly, a red flag is up that they're contacting you, because if they're this diligent they're willing to send something, it's important enough that it's worth taking the time to get there.
All right, just gonna go ahead and open it up.
And as you read forth, and you recognize the handwriting a bit,
mute.
We got you.
It's actually someone that you recognize. Adele. Abdel Fattah is the name.
Abdel Fattah. Okay.
Yeah. Abdel space Fattah.
Yeah.
And you actually know them all the way back from your original training at the brothel. They're letting you know that you need to hurry and figure out the portal that they sensed over here. They start going into detail about how serpents are... it's very much coded. Like, even in Arabic, it's still coded in case this fell into the wrong hands. But what you're getting is that they mentioned something about serpents hunting us down for information about the nature of the mission, that they wish to find the portal first as a quick trip from your guys' homeland to the Americas. That would forego the potential need for ship travel to and from, and that basically you get that Setites, followers of Set, are on the trail as well. And they send you sad news that at this point, at the time of the letter writing, you knew that in the brothel where your sire reigns, as where she runs the place, and that is her domain, it has been gifted to her, where she is the final law. She can pass judgments and stuff like that. It's kind of like her personal domain. Usually has about 30 women in it, and about 10 guys. As far as whether some of them also being part of the brothel as far as their services, some of them as extra security, since they have to play the part of the defenseless women, just having males there as security. That of the people you knew, they mentioned a couple of names, and 5 have been slain on various missions. To the point where they don't think it's random, that this is targeted hits. So your friend cautions you to be extremely careful and to watch your back. And to complete your mission as soon as possible, because your sire is starting to get restless and may be seeking the help of one of the sorcerer sect to make direct contact with you. If they don't hear, they basically, knowing how long the letter would probably take to get to you, they're giving you till March to at least give them an update. And that if they don't hear from you, your sire is going to try and reach out to you. So you got like 3 months from the point of tonight to at least give them some kind of update. And written at the bottom are actually instructions, and you've seen this done once or twice before. It's very similar to the thing that Octavian gave you guys. It's a ritual to contact your sire, knowing that the missive will go to her and only to her. It'll take time to do it. There's certain components you need to get, but it's stuff that you can find if you take your time, and it would be a way to send a missive directly to your sire.
Okay. And then real quick, can I get the name of the person one more time?
Adele Fata.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I think I got everything.
So you guys watch as Atris unfolds her letter, and Atris, as you start to read it, and as your words gloss over each word, the ink almost starts to be sucked into the page.
This message will self-destruct.
It's basically something you're familiar with. There is a bit of a blood ritual that is done, so that way, once the letter is read by who it was intended for, the writing evaporates, so that way no one else can find the letter. It's why one of the things they taught you from early on is how to memorize things relatively, take in information quickly, so that way you can memorize things.
But it appears to be a letter from my clan. Urgency appears to be needed on my part to complete my mission, as appears to be another clan, the Setites, are attempting to find the same portal and use it to use it for their own needs first. So, and apparently, we're being hunted as well. I've been informed that several of my people have been slain on various missions.
Oh. That just sounds like we have some more fun people to kill.
Yes.
Now I will say, Atris, while this is saddening news, it's not completely unexpected. The Sedites and the Barahikim have been at war with each other for thousands of years. Like, it's just lots of conflict. I mean, hell, clans fight amongst themselves, let alone other clans. And being in that same geographical region, you guys butt heads quite frequently.
Right.
This isn't like, oh my god, we've been at peace with them for years and they're suddenly attacking us. You guys have been having like a on and off again war for thousands of years, so it's not unheard of.
Drop everything and just run back to the Alma to solve this issue. Obviously,
exactly. Yeah, and for the record, they did say you didn't have to complete it by March. They just want some kind of knowing that you're making some headway. They want some kind of update that you're making progress, essentially.
And for reference, we're in what month right now?
We're in December. So you have, and they said March. So you've got 3 months to at least give them some kind of update where they can feel confident that they, by sending you out here, that they've got a, that as part of the mission, they're kind of defending where they think the portal, like that side of the portal might be. They're sending you here as kind of a way to try and get ahead of the other group by finding a connection on this side.
I'm going to laugh if the portal is exactly where Noah is digging.
Who knew it was under the house the whole time?
Damn it, old man Williams! You and your Sedite connections.
He was the elder all along.
Right. All right. And lastly, Adele, you have your letter. What do you do?
I open it.
Immediately, a rose perfume that draws back memories come, and a very elegant writing. All in French. My little sparrow. And you know immediately that this is a nickname given to you by your cousin. She's the only one that called you, because of how much you like to sing, like really love to sing. Certain other people tease you about that, and that was a nickname that you didn't enjoy from others. And as a matter, but from her, it was kind of that thing of like, she's allowed to because she's on that inside, but no one else was. And she, in fact, would even, if not directly beat up, get other people to do it if anyone tried calling you that. And this is before you actually had honed your voice, and then no one made fun of you when you actually sang like as an adolescent, because at that point it was actually professionally trained. But my little sparrow, I have enjoyed this game of cat and mouse between the two of us. I find it more than a little hurtful that you have not come looking for me. I thought my letters would spur some kind of reaction. But alas, if you will not come to me, I will have to come to you. I know where you are. I know how to find you, and I know you are very busy with something right now, but when you have a moment and are not busy playing with your pets, you know I've always been more of a cat person anyway. When you're done with the dogs, I shall come and pay you a visit. We have so much to catch up on, do you not think? See you soon.
Well. So this letter is from my cousin.
You
that,
have a cousin?
I know. There it's more than just you.
Sorry. No. You have a living cousin?
They're still around?
Not the last I knew, so I don't know that I'd use the word living.
Hmm. Well, I know you tend to be a bit private, but is this a happy letter or one that we just need to be cautious of?
Well, I mean, it says we don't have to worry about it till we're done with our current expedition. Yeah, no,
But-
this is also not the first letter. He's been leaving a few, no matter where we're at. So this is there. I've got so many questions, and I've kind of been pushing it to the side.
We're being tracked, but hell, at this point, who isn't tracking us?
That's fair.
Well,
Jericho raises his hand. I'm not.
You already found we found, you know what? You're here. Yeah.
Yeah. He just kind of like awkwardly like leaves at this point, saying that he's not really needed.
It's like the awkward hype man.
Yeah.
wait, Jericho, I have this fun vase you should look at.
No.
Murder vase. All right. And I think that is a great place to end for tonight.
Nice.
Thank you everyone at home for watching us. When next we gather with the Obsidian Spurs, we will see if they get to see what Josephine has finished crafting for them. See what Waya's meeting with Beckett brings out, and what everyone chooses to do moving forward with potentially bringing the fight to the Lupines. I hope everyone is enjoying watching the progression of this story. If you have, please like and subscribe below. Feel free to leave us comments and questions. And until we see you all again, keep your fangs and your wit sharp, and we'll see you next time on Tumbleweeds and Tombstones.
Bye.
Bye.